Welcome to Truth UnCompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by sourcevibrations.com. I am love. I am peace. I am free. I have abundance. I have everything within me. For I was, for I am, for I will always be. We are love. We are peace. We are free. We have abundance. We have everything within us. For we are, for we will always be. For Mother Earth is love. For Mother Earth has peace. For Mother Earth is free. For Mother Earth has abundance. For Mother Earth has everything within her. For she was, for she is, for she will always be. And so it is spoken. So it has been written, and it is done.
The descendants of Eurasia, you are at a crossroad. Your cycle of 6,000 years is over, and your rule of 2,000 years has ended. No longer can you deny, hide, justify, or ignore the atrocities that occurred on this land. You have and are benefiting from those atrocities. You have settled on stolen land and participated in a system that murders, rapes, enslaves, and stole for the sole purpose of creating a white empire. Your participation, silence, complacency, denial, and ignorance renders you guilty as well. You have a responsibility to stand up for truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Until you stand for the whole truth, you will never again be at peace. The precious land that you stand on will continue to shake, flood, hail winds, and fires. The universe does not forget, neither does Mother Earth. You are once again being notified, but this is your last notification. The choice is yours. Only you can settle your soul with Mother Earth, her people, and the universe. Mother is aware of these atrocities, for she and her people suffer from them. It has been issued across the planet that justice be served, clean up enacted, so Mother is restored. Signed, the children of Mother, the Ancient Ones return. All right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight is December 6th. We have a great show planned for you tonight. We are doing part 2 of King James Demonology. So I'm excited about that. Last week, we got into the book of Demonology, and it was written or commissioned, because they're not really clear if he wrote it. I highly doubt that he wrote it. He probably commissioned it to be written by King James of Scotland and England prior to the Bible. In part 1, we went into how this book is written. It is an argument between two people, and one is arguing against why using the art of witchcraft, sorcery, magicians is against, quote, quote, God's work and of the devil. And another argument is saying quite the opposite and pointing out that some of these same things are also used by those in the church. So I am looking forward to us continuing reviewing this book, and we will also go over some of the weekly items. We have a lot of stuff jumping off that we need to discuss tonight. So with that said, I am going to bring on my co-host. I'm not sure if Brother Andrew, who joined us last week, he really put something in on it. He might join us as well. Okay, so with that said, let me bring on my co-hosts, Brother Sean and Sis Sandra. I see them in the queue. Let me get Brother Sean. Peace and love, brother. How are you?
Wholeness and power, sis. I'm well. How about you?
I'm well. Good to hear your voice. All right.
Likewise.
Good deal. Let me bring on Sis Sandra. Peace and love, sis. How are you?
Oh, peace and love to you, Sister Rhonda, and Brother Sean, and the whole family.
Wholeness and power, sis.
I'm doing good, just a little stressed, but I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, good to hear your voice. Oh, okay. All right, family. So before I go in with the follow-up items, Brother Sean or Sis, do either of you have anything? We'll go ahead on with the fuckery.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Brother Sean.
Now, as I watch this young Aboriginal community, some of them starting to go over to this sovereign shit. You know, actually sharing videos and shit about sovereignty and all this other bullshit, paperwork. Now, I just don't get why.
Isn't that a contradiction?
Yeah, because my thing is this. If they don't have a certain thing listed within their corporation, how do you call yourself correcting the status and putting something in there that wasn't meant to be in there? Now, to me, if us as autochthonous beings or indigenous or whatever are not listed within their corporation, that means we're not federally recognized, and it wasn't for us. Now, to try and make yourself fit into a category, I mean, to me it just seemed like the same bullshit all over again. They tried it with the African-American approach. They tried it with the Moor approach. Now they're trying it from the American Indian approach. Everybody want to fit in the system and get rights in the system instead of doing away with the fucking system. I mean, people keep talking about their ancestors and their bloodline tying back to the land, this, that, or the other. Well, we ain't had no fucking paperwork. Wasn't no fucking borders, none of that shit. So, I mean, what the fuck are you signing the fuck up for? What what the fuck do you want that you don't already have? You still begging for shit. You ain't trying to take a goddamn thing back. You still asking for shit. You just saying, okay, I'm an American Indian. You supposed to give it back to me. They knew who the fuck they took it from in the first goddamn place. So changing your name on a goddamn piece of paper ain't gonna do shit. Your status, none of that shit. Now all this paperwork shit is just fuckery, 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 and fuck you if you keep talking about that fuckery. Trying to get people to do that dumb shit. Stop it. The system gotta go.
Yep.
It ain't about correcting it. It ain't broke. The system doing exactly what it was put in place to do.
Designed to do. Yes. Yes, indeed. Indeed, brother. Very well said. Very well said. Sis, did you have anything you want to put on it, or you have any go ahead on with the fuckery this week?
Well, I'm just looking at all this circus about the king Magog that died, and how they are honoring him, and now they're trying to. I think I saw an article where they're about to try to clean up that CIA head guy at the time that JFK was murdered, and said he, that was his biggest mistake or something like that. Well, he was standing there, and old Johnson, as far as I understand, was the one who gave him the orders to do it. And I was looking in I was at Walgreens, and I was looking at the magazines, and it said they're coming out now. There was more than 5 shooters. I mean, they had all these patsies going down for that kind of stuff, and they know who did it. But, and now they're trying to clean up this man because he's dead now, that he didn't have nothing to do with it. And I'm saying, okay. He was filmed with him there. So, I mean, he is supposed to be the King Magog, and their king is dead. And now they're mourning his passing. So the whole system is falling, as Brother Sean says.
Yes.
Because of they've been lost a leader. Now that they got to worry about finding somebody else to take his place, But they didn't done enough melanating transfers for him to live this long. So I mean, what's the deal?
Right.
He did his thing.
Yeah, very, very good point, sis. And with the passing of Bush Sr., me personally, he probably had passed. He probably didn't pass when they said he did.
No, they said
we know how that rolls. Yeah, we know how that rolls. They roll shit out based on the numerology for them to
41.
cipher energy. Exactly, because the numbers add up to 41, right, sis? Which he was the 41st president, all that bullshit. But anyhow, it is the signal of their system crashing. Now, I'm going to share something with you. Remember when we talked about the significance of the 11-11-11 that happened a couple of weeks ago? Okay.
Did you hear about that? Yeah, I know.
You know where I'm going with this, sis.
Yep.
So we're not making this stuff up. This is why we're telling you all, anybody that is into spirituality, and especially the melanated people of a certain bloodline, you have the responsibility to be in tune with these things because you are caretakers of the planet. We told you all 11-11-11. So November 11th, and you add the 2018 together, that equals 11. We told you that there was a very powerful manifestation day, and that gateways or portals would be opening up. Okay, so what happens? The news media reports, in this particular article is coming off of the New York Post on the 29th. Nobody knows why the earth just rang bells.
That was funny.
Yeah.
That was priceless.
Yeah. Seismic sensors first picked up the event originating near an island between Madagascar and Africa. Then alarm bells started ringing as far away as Chile, New Zealand, and Canada. Hawaii, almost exactly on the other side of the planet, also picked up the event. Nobody knows what it was. Meteorite, submarine, volcano, nuclear test. I don't think I've seen anything like it. National Geographic reports, Columbia University seismologist Goran Ekstrom as saying, it doesn't mean that in the end the cause of them is that exotic. At the center of mystery is the tiny island of Mayotte, positioned about halfway between Africa and Madagascar. It has been subjected to a swarm of earthquakes since May. Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to get to the part where it lists the date. Shit. This might be the wrong article. Okay, yeah, because it's really not saying anything. Okay, so anyhow, the date of you can find many other articles that talk about it because it was actually a news event story that they don't know what vibration, and they're not going to come out and say vibration, why the earth was vibrating at the same frequency on 11/11/11. So we all know why, because as we keep saying, this event is a spiritual event. Okay? So we already discussed about the ages changing over from what our ancestors, the Aztec, told you would happen in 2012 on to a new age, leaving out of the Pisces age, going into the water bearer age, the Aquarian age. Okay, so now in addition to that, I was sitting thinking about it as we're going over demonology and thinking about the whole King James thing, because that story is even deeper. And next week, probably we're going to go into it a little bit more. But anyhow, I thought about what our ancestors told us, that the age would change in 2012, right? So that whole thing about the world ending at 2012 wasn't about a physical ending. It was about the ending of an age and the new beginning of a new age. So as I'm sitting there thinking, it all of a sudden hit me, wait a minute. When was that King James Bible put together and published? That was 1611. Just did quick math, 1611 minus 2012. If you want to do it the other way, 2012 minus 1611, that's 401 years. Okay, what do they equate to the year of 400? The cycle of slavery. Okay, so in other words, the oppression of that spell of religion with the issuing out of that text, the Holy Bible, which was probably written for a couple of folds, but it wind up being a spell upon the people, was also lines up perfectly, well, almost perfectly, only about a year off, whatever, but it lines up very, very closely with the Aztecs telling us the end of a cycle. So meaning from an astronomy perspective, the ending of the Pisces age into the knowing age, the water bearer age. And that is what you're witnessing today. So as Brother Sean was talking earlier about the fuckery with the paperwork, he's saying that so passionately for a reason, because all of it It's going away. It is going away. We're not in that age anymore. So that is why he keeps stressing this over and over and over again, because some people have not grasped from a spiritual perspective that the spirit world of what we, number one, wrote in the script, and number two, on the spiritual plane, brought it forward, is coming into fruition. And folks are still trying to hold on to the Pisces age. So that's through, not only through religion, but that is also through governmental as well. And it's not going to work. That it's not on the same vibration. It is of a lower vibration, and it is being washed away. Okay, so very, very good point, sis. I'll pause in case y'all want to put something on it. And I think I see sis in the queue. Sis Lioness 215. Let me bring her in. I think this is you, sis. Peace and love. Okay,
peace and love, y'all.
Love
yes,
you
y'all
too.
got it. Hi, honey. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Yes. Look, y'all are on it. I just need to interject this piece. Look, good and bad in everyone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And remember that we all said way back years ago that this is a play being enacted and that everybody was coming off the stage now. Those who hold on to the script, to the part, to the character they were playing, now those are the ones who get busted and end up getting erased and have to start from the beginning with nothing of anything that they have supposedly learned or were supposed to.
Right.
The thing that happened yesterday was many things. Look, they were also showing you love is the only thing that's going to get you out of this. The love of self and the love of your family. Even though he was a dastardly motherfucker, okay? He loved his family. And it's about white, red, and blue, not red, white, and blue, because red in the middle is the balancer. And it's a lot of things. And Jenna Bush, what did I tell y'all before? And thank you, Rhonda, for talking about when we did the opening up, because yesterday was the opening of the door that leads to the door of your blessings, because there was a whole lot of 11s yesterday, too. To close that era, to close that bullshit, to close that degradation and no more suffering. Right. And Jenna Bush said it. She said, Grandpa, it is done. Tetelestai. That's the word I gave y'all before. It means it is finished. It is done. Then one of the guys, it was either the Simpson guy, he was making jokes, okay? But Simpson and Family Guy, they were making him out to be, Georgie, to be a family guy, right? So look at that this week. They're going to put something in there to show you the rest of the way. Do not look at this as, oh, they still in control and, oh, they did this. They didn't do shit. We all did what we were doing, and we all did, for the most part, what we were supposed to be doing. If you went anything above that in a negative nature, then that's on you. Relinquish everything except for you standing up to be that true whoever you are. That's why the angels, the Genesis, so they see where you fit in, and this is what it's about. Because that stabilizer on his plane that they name Special Air Mission 41 was 29000. 2 and 9 is what?
11.
There you go. And it has to do with the Chinese, but good and bad and everything. So the duality is almost over also.
Right.
Because those are the bad all over the place, or what you would call bad, but it's not bad. It's that their fucking brains can't work right because they were so hurt and demoralized that they didn't have the open pathways. And over the weekend, I went to another class on the brain. I ended up, these people, these gigantic people from all over the world and most of this country, psychiatrists and shit, trying to learn this now. They were flabbergasted when I'm saying you got to come to the spiritual. They didn't get this. They didn't get the chakra points, or they were showing scans of the brain, and they had colors on it. So they said, oh, no, the colors don't matter. I tell you, the colors exactly match the chakra points. And each part of everything, your feet, your hands, your face, your tongue, your stomach, your gut has two brains. They didn't know that. They knew there was a connection between the brain and the gut. So it's coming around. One was literally almost crying to know that things are going to change, but they're already changing. So be ready. And there's a lot. I did one last night. I'm going to get you the number because I talked about this last night.
Yeah, I figured that you did. I wasn't able to join, so I'm glad that you tuned in. Yeah. So, definitely get me the replay information so I can get it to the family.
And your point just then about the timing, the years, also there was something that has to do with his funeral that was about 1603, okay? So even if you do the other 400 that way to the right, if you do another thing, what's the difference between what you said and then to 1603? Because it's the same thing, and you will find out when y'all talked about SCOTUS last week. No, they're not talking about the Supreme Court, but they are because you are the Supreme Court. When you reach your highest self within inside of you, because then you will master yourself and govern yourself accordingly, according to your universe, your cosmos. But there's many things going on, and it has to do with Ophiuchus, too, because that's when Ophiuchus came in, that's when he had to get the step in, okay? And they know it. They know it. They know it. They know it. So, okay, thank you.
Agree, sis. Okay, thanks, sis. Peace and love. I'll put you on mute. Okay, peace and love.
Okay.
I know she usually wants me to put her back on mute. She'll come back in. Okay, all right. That's Sis Lioness. She did 2 shows, one yesterday and one Tuesday. So I will make sure that once she passes me the replay information, I'll put that on Truth Uncompromised Facebook page as well. Because as a matter of fact, she did a show right during the 11/11/11 portal, the last time also, and we were all together to bring that in. So thanks, Sis Lioness.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me in that call.
Yeah, a lot of people complain because the last time she had a call, I barely got in. I had to keep dialing, got in, answer a call, kicked myself out, then couldn't get back in. So we know how they do. Just like last week, family, I didn't hang up on you all. They just decided, I guess we was dropping too much knowledge and straight ended us an hour early. So
you know, they're saying the information that these people like ourselves are giving out is going to destroy this country, and that was the Secretary of Security that they were saying that about us. So about all these controversial talks that are being, spread around, they did say that. So they're really, really up in an uproar about the fact that information is getting out there. And they consider it wrong information, but they're the ones that's wrong.
Right. So, and, the thing of it is, of course, those that, and going back to what Brother Sean was trying to point out about, paperwork That's keeping a falling system going, or trying to. Let me correct myself. Trying to keep a falling system going. It's the same thing with folks trying to censor truth. It's the same exact thing, and that's why I made the statement earlier regarding Eurasians that they have to stand up for the truth to free their souls, because the cycle is going to continue and is continuing whether or not people want to recognize the truth. The truth and the cycle of the earth don't give a fuck what somebody feels. It is what it is. It's going to move on. So the purpose of me pointing out this week to the Eurasians that they have to stand up for the truth is because a lot of them still have their heads buried in the sand. Oh, well, we know about colonialism. It is what it is, basically. Well, no.
All
right. Let me switch. No, hold on.
It's starting again already.
Yeah. Too early in the call. They did it early last time, too.
Thing is, though, the information we sharing is stuff that they got written. I mean, it's usually their words, right? They the source for it, so I don't see how they gonna get mad. That was part of their agreement that they had to tell what they was gonna do before they did it. I mean,
and there's a lot of truths coming out too now, because the time is up for them. They have to tell the truth. They have to say it. They don't really saying it. They just kind of cloaking it, but they're saying it. But they're saying it.
Right. And let me make sure that's not me echoing. I don't think it is.
They've been saying it. I mean, if you think about it, other than some of the ignorant ones that just like to get on our channels and troll.
Right.
There's our people that's doing all the arguing about who we is and who we ain't.
Right.
They ain't saying shit. They sit back like, okay. They like, these motherfuckers want to fight about everything. We tell them a lie, they want to fight about the lie. We tell them the truth, they want to fight about the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right now,
That's
they probably tell them. They probably tell their mama, look, we ain't got nothing to do with this. We done tried to tell your kids, and look at them. Just look at them. They just want to fight about everything. They just want to stage about it. We ain't got to do nothing more. I mean, hell, we just sitting back waiting for our sentences. What they doing now, that's all on them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Very good point, Brother Sean. So, so it's a wake-up call for everybody. And I love how Sis Lioness just said that, it's a choice. Those that that go beyond what their script called for, I love how she put that, then you're going to suffer the consequences, which is to repeat another cycle in a lower dimensional state. And that's cool. That's what you want to do. That's fine. But, you can't say that you have not been told, because you have. So that's not only to the Eurasians / Caucasians / white folk. That's to the melanated people, too. That's everybody on Mama has to tell the truth or suffer the consequences. That's just the bottom line. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
Did you know, first of all, Lionel said that love is gonna win the day. And that's loving everybody for who they are and not what you think they are. Also, we're entering in a Spanish video was out there. They're not telling us right now here, but they have it where we're entering into the galactical rift right now, and it's out there. And you can see the sun is going before us. And I was saying that they're talking now about the darkness that's going to come. And it's because the sun is going before us, and we're being dragged in by the sun because we're in the orbit of the sun and not the sun orbiting us, like they taught us. So that's what I was reading. Right. So now we're going through that galactical rift, and that's when everything is going to stop working because they said that's going to be the null zone. And so there's a lot of panic going on because the people who are not right can't go through that, and they won't go through that.
Right. And it's interesting. See, I love how we all jive because I sent Brother Sean a video. It's this brother. His YouTube channel is Cali Mayat. Damn, I can't think of the last last name on that particular video. But anyhow, the brother watches the sky. That's why I look at his videos, because he literally sends up a drone. They messed with his little drone, so he hasn't sent up the drone in a couple of little days. But every day he's putting his camera in the sky, and the amount of stuff that he's coming back with, it is just mind-blowing. So the other day, he came back with, and that video was called Counterclockwise. Cali Mayat, I can't think of I don't see, it's Cali Mayat something or the other. But anyhow, he put up a video the other day where he recorded the sun going counterclockwise.
Wow.
Yeah, that blew me. I'm like, what? So we already know that they have the artificial sun in front, that big-ass fake thing. That's why it's misshapen and all of that crap. Okay? So he tracks the sun behind that, or he waits for the sun to not be behind that. And literally, he filmed the sun going counterclockwise, the other damn direction.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not the first time that he's had just jaw-dropping stuff. I mean, other planets or / energy centers. He's put up there. A lot of cloaking is going on in the skies. So we're not talking, family, something that's going to jump off in 5-10 years from now. We're telling you that it's jumping off now. We're telling you that Mother Earth is shifting now. We're telling you that the planet's vibrations is raising now. We're telling you that the spiritual gateways are open to the higher dimensions now. Okay? Those of you that follow the Bible, we are telling you that we're in Revelations now. Okay? So, sis, what you bring up is another man, and I should have had his YouTube channel. I apologize. He tracks the seismic activity and the activity of the sun. And he is saying, and in that Cali brother's video, Cali Mayat, he has a video on this one guy's YouTube channel as well that's tracking the sun's activity very, very closely. And this guy shows you on a graph by years the sun's activity, and he shows you how the activity is going to ramp up or ramp down. Now, based on his predictions, 2019 is going to be something else. So get ready. Get ready. And he's showing out the gate at the beginning of what they're calling 2019. So that could be the fake, what they're calling December, or it could be in spring, which is really the true beginning of a new year. He shows the activity jump even more and then jump even higher in 2019. So what he's showing you are more planetary changes. Now, Brother Sean and I talked, and I was kind of getting what he was saying, but then I wasn't. But now I totally get what he's saying, that we are going to go into an ice age, but only part of Mama is going to go into an ice age as she do cleanup. And you have a lot of folks on YouTube, particularly Caucasian men, that are tracking this and are pretty much saying the same thing, that there is going to be a lot of extreme weather changes, and one of them is they're calling it a mini ice age, okay? So the one white guy that was tracking this about the sun's activity, he showed on his graph, he went all the way back either the 1600s or 1500s, and it shows where Mama had went through this activity once before, and based on his graph, I calculated the age, and it was right in line with switching of an age. So meaning the weather patterns being extreme were right on the money with the cycles of the ages, okay? Because the cycles go in like 2000 are the mini cycles, and then you go up and you go up and you go up. And the big cycle, which we are in now, is the 36,000 year cycle that lines up also with the 2,000 year cycle. Okay, so once again, family, we're not talking about something that's going to happen 5 years from now. We're telling you that it is happening now. All you have to do is walk out your damn door, and really, if you're in tune, you don't have to walk out your door. You feel it. But if you need evidence, walk out your damn door, and you should be able to feel it. Because I don't know about y'all. I don't be knowing what the weather going to be like. One day you in damn shorts, and by that nighttime, you got to put on a winter coat, okay? And that is because of Mama Earth shifting, okay? That's the same thing that happened with that big Alaska earthquake that jumped off. And another guy tracked the activity of that earthquake, the aftershocks, and the energy being put out. And all of those after earthquake shocks in Alaska, he gridded them out or mapped them out, and they were going right directly up to the North Pole or Polaris or the Arctic, which would make total sense. So pay attention to what is going on, because you are witnessing the shift. This is within your physical lifetime. So it's more than about some governmental system being reset. That shit is done with and over with. It's bigger than that. It's everything being shifted if you're going to follow along with Mother in a higher vibrational realm. Okay. All right. So the other thing I had to put on it just real quick they've been putting out a lot of stuff on Antarctica. Specifically, what I've seen is this is an article from Live Science. Came out on the 29th of November, and it's saying Antarctica island exploded 4,000 years ago. Horseshoe-shaped Deception Island in Antarctica has finally revealed one of its most closely held secrets when it exploded. The island, an active volcano, got its unusual shape during a long ago eruption that ejected massive amount of rock and magma to form the bowl-shaped depression called a caldera. Now researchers know that the massive eruption happened around 4,500 years ago. This information will help volcanologists understand the volcano better, said study researcher Dermot Antonades, a professor at the University of Laval in Quebec. The findings will also help scientists like Antonades, who studied ancient climate, figure out how Deception Island Island's eruption affected Antarctica's climate. Okay, so now they're starting to bring out, although us in the spiritual community and even the quote, who they're calling conspiracy theorists, we told y'all Antarctica is not what they've been telling us. Okay, so now they want to slip in here up here talking about the climate of Antarctica. And they have no choice but to bring this stuff out because now everything is starting to change.
Right.
All right. Unexpected discovery. Antonades and his colleagues didn't set out to discover an ancient volcano eruption. The researchers were studying cores of sediments pulled from lakes on the Bears Peninsula, an ice-free spot on Livingston Island off the tip of the Antarctic Peninsula. In cores from different lakes, the scientists noticed something unusual. They all had this section where there was just a massive jumble of sediments that were sitting on top of a volcanic ash layer. Antonades told Live Science. The team was aboard a scientific research vessel alongside scientists from many different fields working on various projects. Some of those scientists were volcanologists who told Antonades that he and his team of ancient climate researchers may have just stumbled upon proof of the Deception Island's last huge eruption. The researchers used a variety of geological and geochemical techniques to link the origins of the layers in the lake to the ancient eruptions. The investigators used radiocarbon dating, a method that measures level of radioactive versions of carbon in a sample to figure out how old the layers were. The results revealed that the layers were deposited just over 4,000 years ago. Okay, so remember I talked about how cycles and many cycles happen in a 2,000-year time frame, okay? Pinpointing a catastrophe. Prior to the study, estimates of when the Deception Island caldera formed vary widely. Many people pegged the timing at around 10,000 years ago, with some estimating the date to be as recent as 3,370 years ago. They were kind of all over the maps, Antonia said. The reason, he said, is that the previous researchers used various measurements to make those estimates, all of which had their own weaknesses. Some researchers, for example, attempted to radiocarbonate sediments from the ocean floor, but the ocean Antoine said, is the major collector of carbon all over the world. Carbon that enters the seas near the equator in the form of, say, dead algae can travel a long distance and eventually end up near the poles. Okay, so now let's think about that. See, this is what they be pissing me off. But now that we know that what we know, you have to read stuff with discernment. Now, they're going to tell us that dead algae can travel long distances and end up near the poles. Why would it end up near the poles? And really it's pole, the North Pole, because that pole is magnetic. Okay? All right, so this old carbon mixes with newer carbon that enters the sediments right on the spot, clouding the accuracy of the dating. Okay, now they a damn lie. Now I'm gonna give them that they may not know whether it was one of the 2,000-year mini cycles, so meaning going from one astrological age to another, or if it was 4,000. I'll give you that. I'll give them that. But for them to play like they don't know, like it's a wide range, they a damn lie. They know. But anyway, the lakes don't have that problem. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You think about it, they may not know. Because if we're talking carbon, we're talking melanin, and we're eternal. So they can't date something that's eternal because it has no beginning or end.
That's true.
Plus, that carbon dating stuff is supposed to be phony. So that's not even valid stuff, I heard. But you know, the algae now is about to take over the Atlantic. They have huge amounts of algae. They have it in Florida. They have it everywhere.
It doesn't surprise. Doesn't surprise
me. They got rid of all the things they eat algae. All the algae eaters have been killed off.
Yep, they killing all the matter of fact, the algae is killing the algae eaters because the algae has been taken over, and there's tons of dead fish everywhere.
Yeah, now let's talk about the dead fish, because did you all see the story where it was some whales had beached? It was like 120 whales. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's the deal with that, family. It's because of the magnetic change in that pole. Because those mammals and the fish and all of that, and even the birds, and that's why the birds are dropping up out the sky, it's because the magnetic pole is shifting. Okay? So like we are adjusting our bodies, our carbon, okay, like our carbon is being upgraded, those animals and mammals, it's the same thing with them, and specifically the ones that use the ley lines in mama that's ultimately connected to that pole in the Arctic, what they're calling the North Pole or Polaris. It's off for them. So meaning what they're used to being tuned to, if it is shifting, it's going to cause their sense of direction to be off.
Yeah, their sonar.
Yeah, sonar. I could not think of it. Yeah, their sonar. Exactly. So now they're not going to tell that MFing part. But that's exactly what's going on, but they're only telling you in pieces. And you have to be in tune to enter and understand what they're really saying, because they've already released articles telling us that there's a bunch of plasma, energetic plasma, coming out of Antarctica. And all of that has to do with the shift. So, yeah, they're very I'm sorry, go ahead on, brother.
You also got to look at their timing with Aquaman.
You know, I thought about that. I saw. So Aquaman finna straight up be released. Oh, okay then. Oh, okay then.
I mean, us being elementals, we controlled everything, not them.
Right.
I mean, once again, it's them throwing our sciences up in our faces.
Agreed.
Is that the one with the Triton? What's his name? The Triton, the god of the sea. Is his name Triton? Because Aquaman is a little bit different, but they're showing one with Triton too that's coming out.
Well, I thought they said Aquaman. I could be wrong, but
yeah, Aquaman coming out.
They coming out too. I think I saw both of them, but also Triton. You know, because these people are mixed with that fish DNA. They SL4 A2 whatever 24 C5. They got all of that. So Triton and Aquaman would be their conquerors. They're heroes.
But Aquaman is allegedly an Atlantean. He's
right.
The prince of Atlantis.
Right. Right.
That's what I wish. But they're mixed with that zebrafish DNA, which blocks their melanin. So they're trying to show that their heroes are going to come out and make our heroes zero.
Well, you know.
that's what they do.
Exactly. They can go head on and enjoy as they may, but the statement still stands that all truths will be told, and those that are not in alignment will suffer the consequences. Because they know how this story is going to end. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no mystery. They know how it's going to end. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
Even like with the cartoon Aquaman in the future, Black Manta is the one ruling Atlantis. And he's melanated.
Oh, yeah.
And his son joins the Justice League to fight against him.
Yeah, see, I don't remember the Aquaman cartoon, but...
I used to read them books.
I mean, they wound up bringing that out on the Teen Titans cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah, they be having a lot of stuff in there.
Them cartoons.
Exactly. So I'm not going to finish the rest of this article. It wasn't that much left, but I just wanted to put the family up again on notice to pay attention. What they're saying is coming out of Antarctica, okay, and it has all to do with that Polaris, what they're calling the North Pole, shifting, okay, as Mama Earth shifts as well. And only other thing I want to say on the weather and the changes that are associating with the weather, I want the family to be aware of that the suns, meaning plural, because we do know that we have two suns, once they are not able to block out it anymore with the fake artificial sun. And by the way, the U.S. court put out an article the other day. Yesterday, they put out an article saying that they are testing technology for an artificial sun. And I just fell all the way out. I'm like, well, we already know y'all using it, but just to let the family know, especially for those that may be listening to this for the first time, that we're not making this stuff up. We tell you the stuff in advance, and then it comes into fruition. Okay, but once that stuff is gone away with, because from what I'm seeing and reading is that the artificial suns they keep putting up, they keep breaking down. And rightfully so, they're supposed to break down. But the radiation from the new energy is going to hit the planet even further because we're already getting some of it. Okay, and that's why you're going to, you notice they're not talking about it the way they should talk about it. But that's why some people are getting sick with skin breakouts, where their skin has been just getting torn up. Okay,
you know, in Israel,
but go ahead, sis.
In Israel, that is their number one killer. Their skin. Yeah, they really having it. They going. I was looking at all these people all over the place that you could see the brown spots pop up on their face. And in Israel, it was number one and number two killer already, because they're having that problem.
Wow. And again, they're not telling the truth, which they should be telling the truth, so people can take precaution, but that's only going to get worse. Okay. Now, what I am telling you all that is on a spiritual level and higher vibration, that is not going to harm you. That is going to be the opposite for you.
Yeah.
That is for you to receive the upgrades and the codes to unlock your DNA, because some of it is already being unlocked, but you're really going to be unlocked because you are changing from a carbon-based being into a crystalline being. Okay, so those rays with those suns are going to do that. Okay, so get prepared. I'm probably thinking next year that they're going to start issuing out warnings about going in the sun. So
they already
get
did.
prepared.
They already
did in Cali?
Yeah, they said it's you have to do a PF of over 100% now, over 100.
Do they even sell pH that high?
I didn't know that. They said the 30s and the 50s and stuff was not working.
Wow, see? Wow. So they are issuing it in Cali. They haven't in the other states yet, but so then that confirms it. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
So next year they're not going to have a choice but to issue it, because that radiation is going to be too high.
You know that plasma machine or whatever, when that, I think we talked about this before, when the ice is melting, they found about like at 300 feet down a device, Dabu 77 or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is pointed at Orion's belt, and it is giving off a signal. They don't know what kind, but it's giving off a signal as the ice melts. So they talked about the fact that it is generating some type of signal to Orion's belt. And, some places they say we emanated from before we came here to this planet, and it's pointing that way. And that emanates in the ice melts, our consciousness levels are going higher. And that's when the frequency is climbing, too. And a lot of people are waking up as that ice melts. And they're panicked trying to not have that happen, but they can't stop it.
They can't stop it. Right. And that signal, what I'm getting, it is measuring the levels of the plasma.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make perfect sense. That would make perfect sense. Wow. Okay, let me bring on 310. Let me do this. Hold on a second.
Coming.
310, your line is open.
No, I'm not putting
310. Okay. All righty. All right, 310. Sorry, it didn't sound like. I'll try one more time. So I wasn't sure if you was ready for me to get you. If not, I'll put you back on mute. 310. 310, your line is open. Okay. All righty. So you pressed *1 by mistake. No worries. Okay, then. All right, family. So that's all. We went over a little bit longer than I wanted to on the news, but it was kind of a build up, and we still didn't get through everything from a couple of weeks ago. Okay. Where did we leave off? Brother Sean, I think we left off we talked about chapter 4, the difference between astronomy and astrology. I don't have anything else to put on there unless you did. What I think I'm going to do this week is actually go to the text and read it.
I thought we were going to be doing. I thought we were going to be doing book 2 today.
Yeah, we can do book 2. Let me get there. Yep, here goes second book. Let me see if I had anything else on book 1. And just to let the family know, we're going to, let me tell you something. Like this lioness said, everybody played their script in this. So Sis Cheryl, shout out to my Sis Cheryl, she always dropping some knowledge on Facebook. So she dropped this book called The 13 Black Colonies. So I ordered a little book. Y'all couldn't even put the damn book down. I just finished it, and the book just totally blew my wig back because the brother did very good research proving out who the original colonists are. And, of course, King James is all up in the mix because that's what made me want to read the book with the whole King James thing. So we're going to be doing a show on that. Ooh, baby, as they say in the South. Yeah, that's all I can say. So we're going to probably do that next week. We're going to get through book 2 because Demonology has three books. So we're going to get through book 2 and pick it up so only other thing I wanted to point out, Brother Sean, in book 1 was when he talked about in chapter 6 the contract with the magicians. So basically he was saying that the devil and these magicians and witches have a certain contract. And the argument is, having a contract with the quote-unquote devil versus God's miracles. So I just found that interesting that they even went to the point of putting out an argument regarding contracts. And if you read this particular chapter, just from a contract perspective, we had told you all when we did the show on how words cast spells, and we talked about how contracts, and that's why Brother Sean gets so passionate, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but why he gets so passionate about paperwork, because he enter and understand that paperwork / contract equals spells. Okay, so in this book of Demonology, they talk about the magicians and the witches having a contract with the devil, and how the devil pretty much promises them things, and they agree to them, and then the devil, quote, quote, switches it around and tricks them, because the contract itself is an illusion. Okay, And of course, he puts down that part, the contract with the devil, and then just tried to go into all of the biblical stuff with the miracles, okay? So I found that very, very interesting that they added in here the argument about folks contracting, okay? Because what we're witnessing today, as we've talked about several times, that the fall of the melanated people on the land, first it started consciously, which is absolutely know that. But the thing that sealed our fate was the words, the spells that were placed within the words, and then the contracts that some of the ancestors, not all of the ancestors, but some of the ancestors made with the colonizers, either verbally and or written. And they were all an illusion, because in the end, everybody got looped into an enslaved system. And that's even the melanated original colonizers as well. Okay, so I did want to point that out about chapter 6 in book 1. Did you have anything you want to point out on that, Brother Sean? If not.
No, but on 7, where Phi is talking, he said there are 2 principles that ever I heard used, besides that which is founded upon the common proverb that the necromancers commands the devil, which you have already refuted. This one is grounded upon the received custom, the other upon the authority which some thinks infallible. Upon custom, we see that diverse Christian princes and magistrates, severe punishers of witches, will not only oversee magicians to live within their dominion, but even sometimes delight to see them prove some of their practices. The other reason is that Moses, being brought up, as it is expressly said in the scriptures, and all the sciences of the Egyptians, where no doubt this was one of the principles, and he notwithstanding of this art, pleasing God as he did, consequently that art professed by so godly a man could not be unlawful. So basically, if you're doing magic for their God, capital G, lowercase o, lowercase d, it's lawful.
Yep.
Not the big God, capital G, capital O, capital D.
Which is you.
Yeah.
Now, so thank you for that, Brother Sean, because that's what I wanted to bring up also.
So you say it's
I'm sorry,
lawful.
go ahead, sis.
You says it's lawful if you do it for the capital G, or lowercase o and d, but otherwise it's wrong.
Yep, that's what they said up in chapter 7.
So that means like when the Beyonce and Taylor Swift and all them other ones get up there to do their little satanic rituals, or CERN does they demon dance and all that kind of stuff, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's on TV.
Yep,
exactly.
To encapsulate.
Now, I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm cool. I'm good. I'm just reiterating.
Yeah, you just want to point that out, right? And I'm glad you brought that up, because the child see where they gonna sneak in, and they didn't sneak it in. Shit, they putting it out in your face, because they're trying to see who's awake and who's not. Where in Illinois, at the state capitol, they put this image up of the Baphomet sign, okay, with the witchcraft sign, okay, so or you would call it the Star of David, okay, so that's the one triangle and then the inverted triangle, okay, and they are admitting that people are calling it satanic, but they put a sign up under it that this is freedom of speech, blase, etc. Woo. Okay, so I'm bringing this to your attention, family, is that they're putting these things before you because, again, all truths have to be told. Okay, so now I do want to point out, because we had our first and ever troll on the show was when I Baphomet and tied it in to how they're using that Baphomet symbol or energy for different purposes, one of it being the transgenderism and how it's tied into their religion, okay, because their particular religion, Luciferian Satanism, uses that symbol, but the symbol is an ancient symbol that our ancestors used to work with the energies within the realm. Okay, so in this book of Demonology, now we're not making this up. This is 1597, the King James put this out, pretty much saying down with the witchcraft, down with anything esoteric, although they weren't calling it that back then. They called it witchcraft, but it was basically esoteric or metaphysics. Down with all of that. You need to be on what we tell you to be on, serving our definition of the G-O-D, versus using the energy, the esoteric energy, raw energy, for your own purposes, because you are the capital G-O-D, okay? So now this is what they were pushing in 1597, and this was in the midst of them admitting throughout this book that they looked down on witches. They made references to the oracles back in the Greece era, and if you go back and trace that, how they overthrew the witches, they killed a lot of the witches. We know that over here they had witch hunts, and it was because they wanted to suppress your magic. Because if you are using your magic to create your own reality, you cannot be enslaved. You would not be enslaved. So if someone is going to rule over you and rule over the realm, they would have to suppress that particular magic. Okay? And in the meantime, telling you not to do it, but they're using it. Okay? They throw it in your face every day that they're using it. It's in the government that folks are trying to keep going. It's in entertainment. It's in religion. The Pope himself has the fucking Baphomet on his throne. And then he gets behind closed doors, and sometimes he does in public, bows before the black woman. Okay? So these are the things that have gone on, and now it's back to full circle, because you, as the ancient ones, are picking back up those ancient teachings for the purpose of taking back over control of the realm, because you are the caretakers, not only physically of Mother Earth, but you're also the caretakers of the realm. And with being the caretakers of the realm, you have to know these particular metaphysics sciences. It goes hand in hand. Okay, so I'll pause in case somebody puts something on it. If not, we're going to go into book 2.
It says,
Uh-huh.
now that you mentioned entertainers, going down to the last paragraph in chapter 7, he say, the like, no doubt, the sorcerers and witches' merits, and rather so much greater, as their error precedes the greater knowledge, and so draws nearer to the sin against the Holy Ghost. As I say of them, so say I, the like of all such counsels, inquirers, entertainees, and oversees them, which is seen by the miserable ends of many that ask counsels of them. So they was talking about putting it in entertainment back then.
Sure was. Sure was. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And again, when you read this book, and it took me some time to get used to it because of the way the words are spelled, but once I got my mind together, you know what really tripped me out, Brother Sean, when I was reading it? It sounds like one of us talking, doesn't it? The way the stuff is spelled. Mm-hmm. Don't it sound like us? I'm like, now, goddamn it, I know we would spell that just like we was, like they spelled it up in this book. I'm like, damn, this is deep. Yeah, what they're calling broken English was really the true English. So it said to me that them trying to correct us, meaning fast forwarding, as we went up under the European, and I can't even say European because that was really melanated, under a Caucasian colonization system, the way we were speaking their quote-quote English language is the way the melanated kings were speaking it.
Mm-hmm.
On down to the spelling. So once I turned off that westernized motherfucking education, I said, oh, hell no. This would be just like a brother talking, two brothers debating, using their quote-quote, but they're calling ebonics, but that's,
like posts
that's
we
just
see
the
on
way the
Facebook
language
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just like posts we see on Facebook all the time, and folks misspell stuff or whatever, or don't have it in the quote-quote proper English, but we know what the fuck each other is saying. So, yeah, so I found that interesting. Okay, so now we're in the second book, argument, the description of sorcery and witchcraft in special. Chapter 1 argument, proved by the scripture. Oh, and also note, I don't want us to slip past that. Now, this came out in 1597, right? All through this book, they make reference to scriptures. The King James version of the Bible, that it didn't come out till 1611. So that tells you they were using a set of scriptures prior to the collection of scriptures in the King James Version Bible. Now, some of you may notice if you went to church for any length of time that some of them would teach that these scriptures, especially the New Testament, they got it from a collection of different folks. And that Old Testament, which is they're calling the Hebrew Testament, came from the Jewish people. Okay, so my point being, it just shows you how long this Bible stuff went back. But demonology, to me, now this is just my opinion, okay? This was, and Brother Sean put it out there also when him and I was having a one-on-one, that it was the precursor to the Bible. And to me, they had to put it out is because they wanted to close the door on the metaphysics / witchcraft amongst all of our other ancestors across the planet. As they were going around conquering, taking land. Okay, this was the precursor to put that down and then pick up their particular book of spells and riddles. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
May I say something?
Yes, ma'am. I had to get that out.
I learned the King James Bible is only for this country. And they don't. I had to testify, but go ahead on, sis. They don't have it in other countries. And if you asked a Catholic, like I asked a devout Catholic, I asked them, don't you have it? And you know in King James, in the Bible, they said, the what? They don't even read or learn the Bible in the Catholics. So this book that he's put out is only to change the melanated people to his way of thinking.
Okay, so remember when I said about an hour ago, the Aztecs told us in 2012 that was the end of an age, right?
Right.
Did I not say that 1611, when that Bible came out, in 2012, it's 401 years.
Mm-hmm.
That would match the 400 years of slavery.
Yeah,
so,
and he only did it for us. He didn't do it for the rest of the world.
Right, because remember, King James came over to the Americas in 1603, and so you know he was kicking it with us and met with the shamans, the medicine men and women, and then ran his ass back over to Europe, and that's when he put patents on his land and started striking up agreements. But then that's when they were working on that Bible also. Although the Bible wasn't introduced, they're saying, on these lands until the 1800s.
Yeah, well.
Because it probably was not accepted. I'll put it that way. It wasn't accepted. We were like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. So it was not accepted until we were defeated. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
But you also got to look at it from this perspective. He had to convince the intellectuals over there to keep supporting his war because they were getting their asses kicked.
That's true.
With that papal bull edict bullshit, that brought more and more countries into the war to Christianize the people, and they get the claims. So, that was all part of the plan to get more goddamn help.
That's a very good point. I'm sorry, sis, did you have something?
Well, you know, Ephesians, since they have to tell you what they're about to do to you and what they did, they tell you straight out that their religion, they brought to us what they wanted you to know. They wanted they wanted to take from us what was ours because they wanted it. And that's what they do. That's what the whole process is to do, is to colonize, conquer, and destroy.
Right. And it's interesting because I just saw somebody post today, and I should have pulled the article, but I knew we had so much stuff already, where over in Haiti, which is still the Americas, let's be motherfucking clear, but over in Haiti, some hospital, y'all, is telling them that in order for them to receive motherfucking services, that they have to be a Christian. They have to convert to Christianity and not practice voodoo. And this was literally in one of the mainstream media publications. And I immediately thought about demonology. I'm like, they've been doing this shit for a very, very long time. Because remember, the French, wasn't it the French that Haiti spanked that ass with voodoo?
With voodoo.
Yeah. So they've been terrified. So basically, they're terrified of it anyway. And as I was reading demonology, and now these are melanated folks when we're reading demonology. These are the melanated kings sitting on the throne across Europe. They were terrified of the quote-quote witchcraft or esoteric. And specifically, they were terrified of the women. Extremely terrified of the women that practice witchcraft / what they're calling demonology, which really isn't. Witchcraft / metaphysics. Okay? So they had to suppress it in order to move forward with their plan. Okay? All right. So let's go on to chapter 2. Here's the argument. This is, I'm sorry, not chapter 2. This is the second book. So this is chapter 1 argument. Proved by the scriptures that such a thing can be done, and the reasons refuted of all such as would call it but an imagination and melancholic humor. How you pronounce his name, Sean? Is it Philommites? Is that how you pronounce old boy's name? Okay, Philommites. Now since ye have satisfied me now so fully concerning magi or necromancy, I will pray you to do like in sorcery or witchcraft. So in other words, now that we done chopped it up about magic or necromancy, let's go on and talk about the sorcery or witchcraft. All right. The field is likewise every large, and although in the mouths and pens of man, yet few know that the what do you say that word is?
Mouths and pens of many.
Okay, mouths and pens of many. Okay, I just skipped past mouths. Oh my God! Or I looked at it as something else. Okay. The field is likewise very large or every large, and although in the mouths and pens of man, yet few know the truth thereof, so well as they believe themselves, as I shall so shortly as I can make you, God willing, as easily to proceed. Okay, so basically he I'm about to prove my point. All right. But I pray you before ye go further, let me interrupt you here with a short digression, which is that many can scarcely believe that there is such a thing as witchcraft, whose reason I will shortly allege unto you, that ye may satisfy me as well in that as ye have done in the rest. For first, I kind of cracked up when they say for first, because I think about how we say first of all, but anyway, sorry, for first, because I'm always with that. First of all, anyway, for first, whereas the scripture seems to prove witchcraft to be by diverse examples, and especially by sundry of the same, which ye have alleged, it is thought by some that these places speak of magicians and necromancies only, and not of witches. As in special, these wise men of Pharaoh's that counterfeited Moses' miracles were magicians, say they, and not witches. As likewise the Pythonese that Saul consulted with, and so was Simon's Magus in the New Testament, as they very still imports or I don't know what that is. Still
import.
Okay, import. Still imports. Secondly, I'll before I go to first. Secondly, so first he's just trying to remind blood. Now, remember in the Bible it talked about the witches or witchcraft, because you talked about the witch that had showed Saul that had conjured up before Saul this person, Samuel. Thank you. I couldn't remember who she conjured up. So he just reminded. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So he just reminding blood of all of these examples of witchcraft that they mention in the Bible. So he brought up again about the magicians with Moses and the miracles. Okay, so he just bringing that all up to him, how that's all documented in the Bible. Secondly, were ye upon the daily practice and confession of so many, that is thought likewise to be but every melancholy imaginations of simple raving creatures. Thirdly, if witches had such power of witching of folks to death as they say they have, there had been none left alive long since in the world, but they, at the least, no good or godly person of whatsoever estate could have escaped their, I guess, devilry. Yeah, devilry. Okay, so Brother Sean, I'll let you give your take on it, on that little, his response to the argument. And that's Philomite. Mm-hmm.
At the least, no good or godly person of whatsoever estate could have escaped their devilry. But you say that they're all dead. You killed them all off, but at the same time, nobody could escape them. So, I mean, is he speaking of the immortality of the melanated woman, the so-called witch? I mean, it just goes to show you that they knew that they wasn't up against no regular quote-unquote motherfuckers.
Yep.
Yeah.
They came for a spiritual battle, not just a physical battle to just take our land. It's a whole lot deeper than land.
Yeah,
it is.
They was coming for our very souls.
Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. You finished? I want to inject something. The autogenous ones talked about the last Mayan king. Mm-hmm. And they're speaking of him. It's in the history books. He prayed to them not to cut off his head because he needed it for the afterlife. And he promised them all the gold that they wanted. They'd fill the room up with gold. Mm-hmm. And they agreed to that. And then his subjects went out and they got all the gold that would fill that room up. And when they killed him, they cut off his head anyway.
Yep.
Because the afterlife, just like he's saying in that book right there, is what we have and they don't. And they needed to stop it. That's why they have to keep closing the portals so we can't get out. But they can't get out either.
Right,
So,
and they think they closing it so we can't get out. But anyhow, go ahead.
so this is very important for our people, because I was just at my uncle's funeral on Tuesday, and they're talking. The preachers that were talking are now talking about the fact that you just changed houses. The material person just goes away, and your frequency keeps going.
Right.
I was sitting up there listening to that. I said, we should try to tell him some of the truth.
Yeah, that's a huge step for him to have gone that far if he threw frequency up in there.
Yeah, he did, and I'm like,
Okay, yeah, that's huge to come from the pulpit. That's huge.
Yeah, and he's just got rid of the earthen vessel, and he still continues in the other part of who he really is.
Right.
And I said, okay now.
Wow. Wow.
They have to start telling the truth.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. Even they have to start telling the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It again, I agree with both of you, very good points. But Brother Sean, yes, that stood out to me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, blood. So first of all, you in a sly way admitted that all of the witches are dead, so you pretty much admitting that y'all killed them, okay, but you're still worried about the power that they have. Because if all of the witches are dead, now let's think about this. If all of the witches are dead, why would the fuck they need to write this book?
Mm-hmm.
So apparently you are still afraid of that power of the quote witches. Because in this book they talk about the witches being the ones that carry out the powers, and the other sorcerers they're saying they make the contracts with the devils and all of that. But the witches, let's be clear, the energy comes through them, the strongest. Now, I'm minding my business like I normally do. Lee-dee-dee-ta-ta-ta. So I'm watching this, I think it was this Netflix series, and it's really good. I'll get the name for you all. But it's talking about, really it's like a mixture of AI and consciousness, okay? So they're hooking people up to this big AI machine, giving them this drug and monitoring their dream cycle in the spirit world. And the drug is interacting with their subconsciousness to solve any traumas, okay? So that alone is deep right there, okay? So I'll get you all that series next week, so if you want to check it out. So, but anyway, in one of the episodes, I cannot make this shit up. One of the episodes, they showed you the carrying out of a ritual, okay? That shit was set up just like Eyes Motherfucking Wide Shut, where that scene where they have the ritual. Okay, only difference is they didn't have the sexual ritual in this particular one, but they literally had the circle or the convening, okay, and then the person that was responsible for bringing forth the energy was a woman. They had 3 women there, and then they had one woman, which you could say the high priestess, that was responsible for carrying out the particular energy that they were trying to bring forth. So anybody that wanted to go in the middle of the circle to conjure up something or bring up energy had to get this particular high priestess's permission, so that the whole group that's in the circle or the congregation, and I'm glad Brother Andrew pointed that out. Congregation, meaning to gather, okay? And when you're in that circle, you're doing the ritual, okay? So I'm saying all that to say, family, that the very thing they sitting up here telling you up in this book that was, quote, quote, evil and bad, and that they carried throughout the religious world and brought that shit on the American soil, they motherfucking asses is doing it behind the scenes. So they've taken our ancestors' science and using it the way we were using it for their particular purposes. And they're still doing it.
Well, you know, another thing they're doing, thanks to them doing this, they're verifying that those people exist. They're verifying
exactly. Thank you, sis. Thank you. They're verifying it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I'm sorry, Brother Sean, did you have something you want to put on it?
I'm good.
Uh-oh. Oh, okay. All right, let me get to, I just checked the queue. I think Brother 832, I know he got cut off last week like we all did. Let me get to Brother 832. Okay, let me see here. 832, your line is open.
Brother!
Hey, brother!
My sisters from other misters!
Hey, brother.
Down.
All right.
Sean, my brother from another mother, sitting on Mount Olympus. You gotta get them thunderbolts. Throw them down.
Wholeness and power, bro.
How you doing, brother? Last week, which I got split in mid-sentence about Cesare Borgia. But I wanted to ask you something first, because I have a sneaky suspicion I might get bumped with what I bring out tonight. Demonology in the script. Mm-hmm. From what I heard you just state, the thought that formulated or crystallized in my mind was he created a script from our, whether we want to call it mysticism, animism, spirituality, the frame of reference that we were in tune directly, channeling, if you will, our planetary forces, Mother Earth, etc. He laid it out and then painted it evil. Like I was saying last week, I was trying to use in the context of the Catholic Church, they created demons and then sent them loose in this way with the fire sticks. Remember when they came upon the so-called indigenous populations throughout the earth, and I'm talking about the Spanish conquistadors, two things supposedly startled them was the weaponry, the long rifles, and the horses. Okay? So, again, that's from them characterizing what they think the indigenous people's mentality was, that they were terrified by this manner of show of force. Okay? Then you come back with the other half of the script, the Holy Bible, which is painted, and I'm going to use this context that's fraudulent because we know white and black doesn't exist, but the demonology and the black, quote-unquote, arts are what was our natural way of existing and what we could call spirituality as opposed to religion. Whereas religion and the Holy Bible is described as the white arts. Okay? So now, here's what I want you to consider, and then I'll take a pause, and I want you to understand what I'm proposing here now. If at one point we truly were in harmony, which means being in balance between both quote-unquote good and evil, as opposed to it has been bifurcated, meaning separated out with one script called Demonology and another script called the Holy Bible. And then you have people forced into combat, good versus evil. You feel me?
I'm feeling you. Yes.
I turn around and
hit it on the head.
That on people. You now impose that on people. So now we have art, white baby Jesus, white male Jesus on the cross, and you have a white God, Goad, small g, large d, I don't care which one you want to use. That finger of the God on the Sistine Chapel up at the ceiling. All this imagery is portraying a quote-unquote whiteness. And so in the subconscious, then what do you define the opposite of that by definition? Black. If you remember the famous scene in the movie Malcolm X that Denzel Washington was saying how he was being exposed and brought to enlightenment, that when you look in the dictionary, there's over 125 definitions for black, all negative. Except the one that refers to money. When you are profiting, you are in the black. Now, how do you get to be profitable? Who was the first commodity? You took the black, quote-unquote, people, the melanated people, and made them property. So that's how you got in the black, by taking the black. You feel me?
Right.
Then you go and turn
using
and
black, period.
Well, but we talking how the spell works through the language, through this evil. Remember, our ancestors told us, the so-called first indigenous and autochthonous people said what, Sean? Called a white man speak with forked tongue, didn't he? Who has a forked tongue? A snake. A serpent. Meaning they speak in duality. They ain't never telling the truth. This is the irony of ironies of all the stuff that we're dealing with. Now we're going to go, the man coming to you, telling you, oh, you don't know what you got here, so I'm going to steal it. But I'm going to tell you, you gave it to me by signing a contract.
Right.
What is a piece of paper? What is it actually? Sean said this about a week or two ago. That's killing trees. People make jokes about that, about the pounds and pounds and millions and billions of sheets and sheets of paper. Even as we supposedly are in a paperless society, isn't everything sitting on the screen of a TV or a computer actually then printed physically?
Yes, at one point in time.
Because people still refer to getting a hard copy, don't they?
Yep.
But what's hard about it? Literally, this shit is ethereal. It has no basis other than the black ink, dark substance, written on a white sheet of paper. Without the ink, what is the white sheet of paper?
It's nothing.
I'm not saying I got any answers, sister. This all kind of like just busted in my head while I was on hold.
No, that was very, very good.
Demonology is the script of evil projected on the actual essence of how we existed, whether you call it magic or whatever, in harmony, animism, avatar, we've seen that before. I don't know if you've seen, and I know we've probably talked about this maybe once before, the Chronicles of Riddick, that evil force of people that came through that planet, they were necromancers.
Really? See, I've never seen the Chronicles of Riddick. Really?
Yeah, and remember, Sean, did you see that? Or maybe even Sandra, where they would take people to the underworld.
I saw it.
And remember how he would reach into Riddick's head and try to saw him pull the essence, spiritual being of that, out of it?
Yeah.
Now, you remember the elementals?
Scared. Yeah, they got scared. They were like, oh, a necromancer.
Kill the Riddick. Kill the Riddick. Kill the Riddick. Kill the Riddick.
What?
Kill the Riddick.
Yeah. And
wow.
Of course.
Wow. So they put it right there in your face and called it the name and everything. Because I had never seen that word necromancy until I read this book. Whoa.
Yep. And he was the king. He became the king of the necromancers.
And I'm going to yield on that, and I'm going to come back to when you get through with book 2, because I have another thought that popped in my head. But I got a call coming in.
Okay, then, brother. Well, peace and love. Just get back in the queue then. Okay, and thanks much. Okay. Okay.
Well,
wow, okay. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
Well, when you have your ancestors pass over, they connect with you. They connect with you through electricity. They connect with you through showing up. They connect with you. And they have defied that and called it familiar spirits and said it was wicked. Because our ancestors do absolutely communicate with us and tell us what's ahead of us. But we have been so colonized by these people that we won't even listen to what they try to tell us is about to happen to us. And we walk right into trouble because they done told us that we can't communicate with necromancy, the dead.
Right.
That's what they tell us. And that's our downfall. You know, Saul is a prime example of the story they put in that Bible to show that he was absolutely evil to do that seance with that witch. He was so evil, he lost his kingdom. I thought to myself, why? That's a gift. That's a frequency that's higher than you are because they transition out of the box that they're in. And they're in another frequency, a higher frequency. Why can't he talk to him?
Well, then they told him he didn't see what he said. Did they not tell him, oh, you didn't see Samuel? Nigga, how you gonna tell me who the F I seen?
Oh, and they said it was wrong for him to do that. And because you were wrong, you lose your kingdom. And that's when they brought up David in the Bible as the one that's going to rule over Israel. Because they told Solomon that Saul that he had sinned. I have always wondered, what the heck? Just because he asked to have guidance from an ancestor?
Yeah, but it's the fact that now we know what we know is because they didn't want him using the ancient sciences. And I'll be damned you use a woman to goddamn do it.
Yep. And they do it. Who are they dancing? You know that what's it called? The Indian pose, Vetra, the Veda, where she's they have it in New York, where she's dressed up in her little Indian garb, and she got her one leg propped up in the air and her hand up. That statue. Well, that's what they be calling on genies. They be doing all that kind of stuff. They mimic that chick. They like that stuff. But yet they tell us, oh, you better not do that. Oh, God, G-O-D, capital G-O-D, won't like that.
Right. But behind the scenes,
they do it.
They're using it to erect their capital G, small o, small d. Okay?
Right.
And they put it right before us, but we don't see it.
Right.
You know,
and
just
they do it with Ouija board. They do it with the Ouija board. You know the Ouija board? Remember that thing?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Wow,
anything they put out about a spell being, you're going to see that Baphomet symbol in the middle of a circle. Okay? These are the sciences, and they telling you up in demonology that they use shapes, symbols, times, and astrology.
And
they're telling you that these are the sciences that our ancestors use, okay, for the purpose of whatever they wanted to use it for, okay? And they were afraid that our ancestors we're going to use it against them. And that's what the fuck our ancestors should have been doing. Using it right on against them, cross their motherfucking legs, and let that be that. But because we wrote the script a certain way is the reason it had to jump off. But the point just being brought home again is that these same symbols that they use that they're telling you are bad, they are using it for their benefit. Because energy is energy is energy, people. It's what you do with the energy. Exactly. It's what you do with the energy. And just realize that whatever you put out there, you put it in motion, and there are consequences for everything that you do, because that is the laws that govern our universe. So very, very good point. Okay, so let's get to, and I'm getting a lot of feedback. I don't know if somebody has me on speaker. Okay, looked like it went away. Okay, so the response is, your 3 reasons as I take are grounded, the first of them negative upon the scriptures. Okay, so he's saying, all right, I'm going to give you your little reasons. You showing some negativity upon the scriptures. The second, affirmation upon psychic. Okay. And the third, upon the certain proof of experience. As to your first, it is most true indeed that all of these wise men of pharaohs were magicians of art. As likewise, it appears well that the Phoenicians with whom Saul, consulted was of that same profession. And so was Simon Magus. But ye omitted to speak of the Lord of God, wherein are all magicians, divines, enchanters, sorcerers, witches, and whatsoever of that kind that consult with the devil, plainly prohibited, and alike threatened against. Okay, so I'm going to pause right there because, oh boy, kind of said a lot right there, and he double talked within it, okay? So basically, he's saying, yeah, we know that what you were saying that was true about the pharaohs and the magicians, them using the art, an old girl that consulted with Saul, all of them are the same profession. But where they really messed up and where you messing up is that you don't speak on the law of God, capital G, small o, D. Because those folks, now this is due responding to the argument, because those folks, meaning the witches, the magicians, sorcerers, and all of that, they speak and they consult with the devil, which is plainly prohibited. Okay, so I'll pause, Brother Sean, in case you want to put something on it before I go on to the next paragraph.
Oh, no, that's self-explanatory.
Yeah. Okay, so, and besides, I'm sorry, go ahead, sis. Sure thing.
About the pharaohs, as though the pharaohs weren't part of their bloodline. And I think somebody said that the pharaohs were a part of their bloodline, but he's showing right there that they're not.
Now, it's going to be, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
The thing is, you talking about King James, he sit on his throne someplace else. And
right.
The pharaohs is over in Egypt. You got to think that this is a time after they conquered them also. They didn't already done away with them. So we next on their sites.
Somebody said that the pharaohs were part of the president's bloodline. So the presidents come off of King James. So, but I said that the presidents were the Merovingian bloodline. and not that Pharaoh bloodline.
Now, sis, we finna bring it motherfucking home next week. And I'll talk to Sean because we may do another week of this. We'll see. But when we get to the next show or the next series in line on the Black 13 colonies, baby, he breaks it all down. He breaks it all down. He traces the lineage.
Oh, good.
Of that European bloodline of the melanated people, and it's gonna blow you all's MF wig back. So we gonna get to confirming who's who, and you're gonna know exactly when white folk came into play, as far as from a power perspective. And when Brother Sean and I was chopping it up on some other things on how the infiltration happened over here.
Right.
From now the pieces are pretty much together from the melanated kingdom side as well as the Caucasian infiltration. So once we get into the 13 black colonies, I'm telling you, y'all gonna be like, oh, hell to the no. It's gonna make sense.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So damn it. Okay. Here we go. And besides that, she who has the spirit of Python in the Acts 16, whose spirit was put to silence by the apostle, could be no other thing but a what's that, Sean? Very. Yeah. Okay, a very sorcerer or witch. If ye admit the vulgar distinction to be in manner true, whereof I spake in the beginning of our conference. So in other words, MF has took and told you that old girl ain't no good. That was doing that conjuring for Saul. So here we go. For that spirit whereby she conquested such gain to her master was not at her raising or commanding, as she pleased to appoint, but spake by her tongue as well publicly as privately, whereby she seemed to draw nearer to the front of demonics or possessed, if that conjunction between them had not been of her own consent, as it appeared by her not being tormented within, and by her conquesting of such gains to her masters, as I have already said. As to your second reason, grounded upon psychic, in attributing their concessions or apprehensions to a natural melancholy humor, any that pleases physically to consider upon the natural humor of melancholy, according to all physicians that ever write thereupon, they shall find that there will be over short a cloak to cover their knavery with. For as the humor of melancholy in the self is black, heavy, and terrene, so are the symptoms thereof in any persons that are subject thereunto. What's that? Lanies? I don't know. Leans. Okay, leans. Palings, desire of solitude.
Paleness.
And it paleness. Okay, paleness. Yep, that makes sense. Yep, paleness. Desire of solitude. And if they come to the highest degree thereof, more folly and main, whereas by the contrary, a great number of them that ever have been convict or confessors of witchcraft, as may be presently seen by many that have at this time confessed. They are by contrary, I say, some of them rich and worldly wise, some of them fat or corpulent in their bodies, and most part of them altogether given over to pleasures of the flesh, continually haunting of companies and all kinds of marryings, both lawful and unlawful, which are things directly contrary to the symptoms of melancholy, whereof I spake, and further experience daily proves how low they are to confess without torture, which witness their guiltiness, where by the contrary, the melancholy never spares to bewray themselves by their continuous discourse, feeding thereby their humor and that which they think no crime. Okay, so I'll pause there, Brother Sean. You want to give some input on that? Because that was a lot. He almost done with his little point, but...
Okay. Of course, you know, he had to describe it as a black, heavy.
Yep.
Then, of course, he mentioned paleness. But they admit that they torture.
Yep.
So they would not confess without torture. You know, guiltlessness. What do you say? Finding thereby their humor in that which they think no crime. I mean, if you think about it, when Columbus came over here, he said that everybody was happy. They were sharing everything.
Yeah, kicking it.
I mean, so basically that's what he's saying. They come over here, you know, talk about y'all evil witches, and our people laughing at that. So what you mean evil?
Right. What you mean blood up and... Right, been practicing this for thousands of years. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And so, you know,
they
come what they want to. It's just interesting how they try and rationalize what they do.
Yes. Rationalizing the torture, and then what fucked me all the way up, you gonna throw lawful and unlawful? First of all, nigga, who is you to tell me what the hell is lawful and unlawful as regards to my spirituality and practices? So I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
One of the things I hear him saying, and maybe I'm listening to something that's not there. When they do their thing, they are tormented by the master that they serve. They have to do it. But when we were doing our thing, we had wealth and riches, and we were happy.
Now, that's a very good point, sis. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm going to try to find that part to go back over it.
Whoever they are serving leaves them melancholy and unhappy if they don't do what they're supposed to do. So they're forced to do what they're doing. That's what I got.
That part right here, you talking about, I say, some of them rich and worldly wise, some of them fat or corpulent in their bodies, the most part of them altogether given over to pleasures of the flesh, continually haunting of company and all kind of marines, both lawful and unlawful.
Yeah, they're happy.
Yeah, that's a very good point, sis, because when he was like, they're happy, fat, and rich, I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck is wrong with that? I mean, apparently they living their best life, so
they're getting tormented. But they're getting tormented. That's what he's saying. Right. Why are they happy serving who they're serving? And you know they shouldn't be serving it. That's not right. And be happy with doing it. Not like because he's mad because they're happy.
Right. And just a little bit of background, we talked about it before, that King James came up in very strict religion. And I want to say it was Protestant. I think it was Protestant, but he was not Catholic. And once we get on to the Black Colony series, you'll understand the reasons why between that. But the reason I bring it up is because it just like now, it shouldn't be hard for us to understand where King James is going with this. Because if you grew up in that church, which he did, then the things that he saw with the indigenous people, he like, what the fuck is that? You mean y'all don't have to suffer? Okay, because is that not what Christianity teaches? You need to suffer to get something out of something. Versus the indigenous people, like, hey, we got everything we need. You know, the land provides for us. We don't have no monetary system, no money. What the hell is that? What you talking about, blood? I got a place to stay. I could just, you know, pick something out of the land and eat it. Or go walk a couple of feet, get me some fish or whatever, if that's what I want. So, you know, what is you talking about? If I'm sick, I can go pick something, you know, have Big Mama or Papa and them crush together some herbs for whatever ailments I have. I got something bothering me, I take it to the spirit realm, speak with my ancestors to get the future. So what is you talking about? Okay, so that was totally different than the way he was taught, that everything goes through the capital G, little o, small d. Okay, and just like Brother 832 said, you're looking at two sets of scripts. Okay, the demonology script is telling you how they suppressed the real power, the black magic, and was ushering in the white magic that they wanted you to have, okay? Then it leapt into creating that Bible, okay? And then ultimately, the same people that came over to the Americas, the melanated people with that bullshit, what they put before us got used against them, okay? And that's what we're going to get into in the next series when we talk about the 13 colonies. Okay, let me see. All right, so as to your third reason, it scarcely merits an answer. Scarcely, my bad. Scarcely merits an answer. For if the devil, their masters, were not brittle, as the scriptures teaches us, suppose there were no men nor women to be his instruments. He could find ways enough without any help of others to wreck all of mankind, whereunto he employs his whole study, and go with help of others to wreck all mankind, whereunto he employs his whole study and goeth about like a roaring lion, as Peter says in Peter 5. Okay, so I found that interesting that he used roaring lion. Okay, to that effect, but the limits of his power were set down before the foundation of the world were laid, which he had not power in the least jolt to transgress. But besides all this, there is over great a certainty to prove that they are by the daily experience of the harms that they do both to men and whatsoever things men possesses, whom God will permit them to be the instruments, so to trouble or visit, as in my discourse of that art, ye shall hear clearly proved. Okay, so that's the end of the first chapter. I don't have anything else to put on that unless somebody else do. If not, we're going to go into second chapters with the second argument. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
Whom God will permit them to be the instruments. So, I mean, he's saying all these people are evil and against God. But then he turned around and said that God is the one that permits them to be used for evil.
Exactly.
But then he punishes them for that. You know what I mean?
Contradiction.
Who is it that's really practicing the black art?
Right, the supposed black arts. And somebody brought up a good point in the chat room. Be wise as serpents, white and black magic, question mark. That is a myth. See how everything is divided among imaginary lines. True that, black as, be white as serpents, rather. LOL. Magic cannot be divided on the sole basis of black and white, whatever that is. Agreed, because as I stated earlier, energy is energy, okay? But they're splitting it up, dividing it for their purposes to harness more power, because if you're not using the power to your advantage, you're at a disadvantage. So, yes, very, very good point. But and I like the way you put that, be wise as serpents, because even black and white magic, the information, you're also admitting that it's an illusion within itself, because we know black and white represents duality, that 0 and 1 binary code of the matrix. Because energy is energy is energy. It's how you're using the energy. Okay? The only twist to it is there are laws, as far as from a universal standpoint, based on the energy or frequency that you are projecting. So very, very good point, be wise as serpent. So, Brother Sean, can you read the next chapter? I'm going to take a health break, and I'll be back. Do you mind reading chapter 2, the argument, and then the chapter? All right, I'll be right back.
Argument. The etymology and significance of that word of sorcery. The first entrance and apprenticeship of them that gives them to that craft. Come on then, I pray you, and return ye left. This is Phil saying to Epi. This is Epi's response. This word of sorcery is a Latin word, which is taken from casting of the lot, and therefore he that used it is called a sorcerer. As to the word of witchcraft, it is nothing but a proper name given in our language. Nothing but a proper name given in our language. Interesting. The cause where thereof were called sortiarage. Proceeded, this is seen to come of lot of or chance, such as the turning of the riddle, the knowing of the form of prayer, or such like tokens. If a person diseased would live or die, and in general that name was given them for using of such charms or phrases, as the craft teaches them. Many points of their craft and practices are common between the magicians and them, for they serve both one master, although in diverse fashion. And as I divided the necromancers into two sorts, learned and unlearned, so I must deny them in the other two, rich or better account, poor or baser degree. These 2 degrees now of persons that practices this craft answers to the passions in them, which I told you before. The devil used his means to entice them to his service. For such of them are as are in general misery and poverty. He allures to follow them by promising unto them great riches and worldwide commodity. I'm going to stop there for a minute.
Okay, and I just came back in. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
Now, as far as the setting up a system and have-nots, wouldn't that be the kings that decided that a certain group of people should be impoverished?
Yes.
Because, I mean, here we had abundance.
Exactly.
Nobody owned anything. Everybody had. There was no need for jealousy.
Right.
So there was no need to contract with a capital G, lowercase o, lowercase d.
Right.
Just like how you were saying earlier about how they're bargaining with people about food. You become a Christian, we'll feed you, we'll give you some food. After killing off their natural resources or blocking them from having access to it.
Totally agreed. Okay, so let me see. I'm trying to pick back up where you left off.
Such is so rich, it burns in the desperate desire of revenge. It lures them by promises to get their turn satisfied to their heart's contentment.
Okay, I see what it is. Mm-hmm.
So that's where they set up the caste system then. And it wasn't profitable for people who had nothing to be in tune with their gifts. They didn't want them to profit anymore from that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that they were bribing them to not use their powers, or
they brought them low. Remember, that's the witch hunts and the inquisitions and all that kind of stuff came over for that purpose, to steal their wealth and say they did it because they were what? Wicked.
Yes. Absolutely.
They were doing evil, but it's only for their stealing the wealth.
Yep.
So they made that plan to take it from them.
Right. And they use the same script now because, as we pointed out with Haiti, you got the audacity to tell somebody, if you want this medical attention or to get something to eat, or they fucked up halfway ass services, if you convert to Christianity, when they're on Haitians' land stealing, as they got the Bible in one motherfucking hand, they got their hands physically in the land taken out of the land. So it's the same tactics. The same tactics. And the Haitians, Americans, already lost half of their land as they split it with those imaginary boundaries, and shout out again to Be Wise as Serpent, the imaginary boundary lines that they drew on Haitians' land, and just gonna create the motherfucking Dominican and trying to starve out the Haitians.
Well, the Haitians
has
a mineral.
Same tactics. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
They have a mineral over there. I forget the name. I read about it. They have a mineral over there, beryllium, like in
Black Panther.
The Black Panther. Yeah, Black Panther. They have a mineral over there that's more precious than gold. So if they get a foothold into their voodoo, then they'll be able to steal it from them without being caught, because they will be into Christianity. And that Jesus story, the book of Beatrice and the turning the other cheek, was a fake person they put out there for our people. And the Titus, when he over and did his thing here, they gave us Jesus, the one to turn the other cheek. So they will be able to steal Hades' stuff because Jesus was put up as a non-conflicting person. Well, Eleazar, who was the one who actually led after Moses and the others, he was a fighter. And they didn't want that anymore. They wanted us to be conquered by peace. And there's no such thing as peace. Because once they
I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
Because once they conquered by peace, they killed us.
And you know, it's interesting that you bring that up. That because when I say they're using the same tactics, I also just want to kind of remind is that although they're using the same tactics, does not mean they're going to be successful, because they're not. Because that tactic of using the Bible, or capital G, lowercase o, lowercase d, that shit is done, because we're not in the Pisces era. So although they may think, because see, remember, before we fail to our lowest point, we documented certain things. We didn't give everything up. So meaning all that's been documented is all the fuck they got. And all they have has been already exposed. They already know what it is. That was only carries them through 2012. It only carries them through the Pisces age. Everything else, we didn't write it down because it's encoded in your DNA. So that's what's really going on. That's why you see them use the same tricks over and over again, because that's all of the part of the fucking script we gave them. Because we're writing the new way. And everybody has the opportunity to do the same, but you have to be vibrating at the proper level. And so those that are unwilling or unable to do so want the vibration to stay the same because they have mastered the old Pisces script. But we ain't even on that shit no more. So that's why you're going to see them keep doing the same thing. This technology that they're, quote, quote, introducing, that shit ain't nothing new to us. That shit is old. So nothing that they are doing is new. That is why our ancestors said nothing is new under the sun, S-U-N. They did not say nothing is new under the suns, plural. We are in the plural, suns age. That's old Pisces shit that they using. So, okay. That's all I had. Brother Sean, do you mind finish up this chapter? Because I done re-lost the place again.
Okay.
Okay.
Such is so rich, yet burns in a desperate desire of revenge. He allures them by promises to get their turn satisfied to their heart's contentment. It is to be noted now that old and crafty enemy of ours assails none, though touched within these two extremities, except he first find an entrance ready for him, either by the great ignorance of the person he deals with, enjoyed with an evil life, or else by their carelessness and contempt of God, and finding them in utter despair, one of these two former causes that I have spoken of. He prepares the way by feeding them craftily in their humor, and filling them further and further with despair, while he find the time proper to discover himself unto them, at which time, either upon their walking solitary in the fields, or else lying panting in their bed, but always without the company of any other, he either by a voice or in likeness of a man inquires of them what troubles them, and promises them a sedane and certain way of remedy, upon conditions on the other part that they will follow his advice and do such things as he will require of them, their minds being prepared beforehand. As I have already spoken, they easily agreed unto the demand of his. And sin settles in other trips where they may meet again, at which time, before he proceed any further with them, he first persuades them to addict themselves to his service, which being easily obtained, he then discovers what he is unto them, makes them to renounce their God and baptize directly, and gives his mark upon them, some secret place on their body, which remains sore unhealed, while his next meeting with him, and thereafter insensible, howsoever it be nipped or pricked by any, as is daily proved, to give them a proof thereby, that as in that doing he could hurtle and heal them, so all their ill and well-doing thereafter must depend upon him. And besides that, the intolerable dolor that they feel in that place where he hath marked them serves to waken them and not to let them rest while their next meeting again, fearing these other ways they might either forget him, being as new apprentices and not well enough informed yet, not well enough founded yet in the fiendly folly, or else remembering that horrible promise they made him, and their last meeting that might scunner at the same, and press to call it back. At their third meeting, he makes his shew to be careful to perform his promises, either by teaching them ways how to get themselves revenge, if they be of that sort, or else by teaching them lessons, how by most and unlawful means that they may obtain gain of worldly commodity, if they be of the other sort. So basically, you would think he was talking about the deals that people make with the devil, but talking about baptism and this, that, or the other, it actually sounds like the deals people make with the God of the Bible.
That's what I was thinking too, because I'm like, okay, did he get confused in his own argument? So yeah, I totally would agree with you that to me it sounded like he was describing the initiation into
Christianity.
Exactly, into Christianity. I 1,000% agree with you. I 1,000%. So, I mean, I don't know who is this speaking. That's supposed to. Oh no. That's the one. Yeah, that makes sense why he said that, because he's pointing out to the other person that blood. You sitting up here talking all this yin yang, where Christianity, you cutting the deal yourself and being initiated. So, yep, that makes sense. I'm sorry, sis, go ahead.
I agree with you, but I'm trying to figure out what is the mark they put on you to make you be identified with it once you give up your God.
That's what I was thinking too. I'm not sure if the mark could be when, and I can only think about Catholicism. I don't know about the other particular religions. On when they do that Ash Wednesday shit on you, don't they put the cross on your pineal gland?
They put a dot up there, yeah.
I could have sworn I've seen before where they put the cross on the pineal gland.
It depends on who it is. Yeah, they probably do a cross. They put black ash on you.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, that black ash. Now we do know it could be baptism, exactly. I think for the main populace is two things. It's baptism, and depending on, like you said, who does it, it's that black ash with either the dot or the cross on the pineal gland. Okay, so those are the two we know for the populace, meaning pretty much everybody that's into Christianity. The other thing is behind the scenes, okay, and y'all gonna know what I'm talking about. A lot of these politicians, if you notice, you will see them with the black eye. All you got to do is go back, Google some pictures, and you're going to see different ones with black eyes. That is an initiation into the higher secret society orders. And if anybody has read Dan Brown, the guy that made the two books, he made one, Angels and Demons, and then the other one that was really, really popular. They made movies out of both. But shit, what's the first one they made the movie out of that was real popular? Because Angels and Demons came before the first book. The first one they made a movie of. But anyway, don't go down that path, Rhonda. Okay, let's stick with Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. If you read that book, it talks extensively about the religious fanatic in the book who the practice of their particular religion was an ancient practice of them to take like a whip, but instead of like you thinking of a whip that they used in slavery, this whip had like fringes on the end. I guess shit, now that I think about it now, you know this deep. Like the motherfucking S&M whip. That's the only thing I can use to describe it, y'all. I'm sorry. But that's the way he was describing it up in the book. They would use that whip to lash themselves over on the back to punish themselves. And this was a particular group of priests in an order that did this. So when I was reading this, I thought about those things. I thought about the ash, I thought about baptism, and then I thought about the black eye, which is done on the secret society side, and then the ancient initiations, one of them that was described in that Angels and Demons book with the marking themselves with this particular whip. Okay, so I'll pause in case y'all have something else to put on it. If not, we're going to go into Chapter 3, Argument 2.
Yeah. Okay, the part about desperate desire of revenge. Now, they're instilling it into their people. It is a possibility. And we might want revenge for what they did.
Mm-hmm. For what they did.
Even though their God said that it was okay for them to do it.
Yep.
They got to be careful about us wanting to take back what's ours.
Yep.
So that's why it's That's why they willing to die to convert people. Just like an old boy that went over there to Senegal Island or whatever, determined to save them, determined to introduce Jesus to them so that they can be saved. And Jesus didn't save him.
Lit his ass up with them arrows.
That's Jesus. Hey, you laugh a little too quick. You didn't read them other couple words. You need not take your ass over there. You got too full of the goddamn Holy Ghost and ran your ass over there. Now you really a Holy Ghost.
Right. A holy with them arrows in your ass. Right. And now a ghost in somebody's realm. But absolutely, brother. And that's not the first time in demonology that they mention about revenge. They keep sprinkling in among the chapters about revenge, and they're saying it in the mindset of the witches using it to get revenge. And I thought just like you did, Brother Sean. So, if you ain't doing nothing wrong, why the fuck you worried about some revenge? So, absolutely. Very, very good point. Very, very good point. Sis, did you have anything else before we go on to chapter 3?
No, I'm good because they telling us how bad they really are, and it's an eye-opener.
It is an eye-opener, which just trips me out that it was put all in this book, but it makes sense why they don't promote this book either. So here we go.
But they have to now because it has to come out.
Yeah, true. And as Brother Sean has said to me, when he had picked this topic, he didn't see where anyone had broke down this book. And the only people that I saw that tackled it, they tackled it from a Christian perspective, which just blows my mind because once I started reading it, I'm like, shit, they under a heavy spell or they in heavy denial because this book is totally different from what I would have imagined. Okay, so here we go. Chapter 3, here go the argument. The witches' actions divided into two parts, the actions proper to their own persons, their actions towards other, the form of their convictions, and adoring of their master. All right, now, so here's the Philamites. Philamites, ye have said now enough of their initiating in that order. See y'all? We not bullshitting you. Homeboy came out and motherfucking told you. Initiations and orders, okay? It rests then that ye discourse upon their practices, for they be past, I don't know, what's that, Brother Sean, Prentice? I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
Prentice.
Like a apprentice.
Okay, prentice, like a apprentice. Okay,
yeah.
For they be an apprentice. I'll just use that. For I would fain hear what is possible to them to perform in every deed. Although they serve a common master with the necromancies, and y'all just blew my mind away with the necromancy being up in that movie. But anyhow, the necromancies, as I have before said, yet serve they him in other form. For as the means are diverse, which allures them to the unlawful arts of serving of the devil, so by diverse ways use these practices, answering to these means which first the devil used as an instrument in them, though all tending to one end, to wit, the enlarging of Satan's tyranny and crossing of the propagation of the kingdom of Christ, so fair as lieth in the possibilities possibility either of the one or the other sort, or the devil their masters, for where the magicians, as allured by curiosity, in the most part of their practices seek principally the satisfacting of the same, and to win to themselves a popular honor and estimation. These witches, on the other part, being enticed either for the desire of revenge. See, there they go with the motherfucking witches again. Okay? So he done kind of like brushed over the necromancies. The magicians, they doing it up out of curiosity, this, that, and the third. But the witches, oh no, them bitches, and probably where bitches came from, derivative of witches. These witches on the other part being enticed either for desire of revenge or of worldly riches. Their whole practices are either to hurt men and their guides, or what they possess for satisfying of their cruel minds in the former, or else by the rackle in whatsoever sort of any whom God will permit them to have any whom God will permit them to have power of, to satisfy their greedy desire in the last point. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Brother Sean, you want to put something on it, and sis?
Uh-huh. We already know of any whom God will permit them to have power over.
Yep.
So, who do they work for real? I mean, God or the devil, or is God and the devil the same person?
Exactly. Because didn't he just interchange it? Exactly. Because at first he was seeing as a difference between the devil, Satan, and God, big G, little O-D. And so now you saying God is permitting them to have power over. I'm lost, blood. What is you talking about?
Being enticed either for the desire of revenge or of worldly riches. Enticed.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what I mean, they got teasing motherfuckers now. He take it away, then dangle it in front of you and shit.
Exactly.
This nigga crazy.
I agree. It's like that. And we're going into overtime. Sorry, I got to read 33 seconds. If you want to keep joining us in the chat room, be wise as a serpent. Really appreciate your comments. You were really bringing it. Dial 929-477-3858, 929-477-3858. Okay, 15 seconds now. Okay, yeah, so I'm Rama. Yeah, I'm like, blood, you didn't just confuse yourself in your argument, because now you all can't distinguish the differences in these energies.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no differences. It's based on what you want to use it for.
But what about the innocent person that he let the witches take control of? What did they do?
Exactly.
I mean, he just saw fit to let his vile, evil witch just have her way with one of his good, lawful Christians. Just because he could.
Right. Oh, but now just remember though that these bitches, witches. Woo! Sound like some hating ass man, okay? Motherfucking hating on the feminine divine power. So according to dude, they're only doing it for the desire of revenge and of worldly riches. So my thing is, why would they be needing revenge?
If they can't look at it, got that thing.
Exactly. And you talking about some worldly riches? Well, bitch, let's back up. Since you want to call us witches, I'm going to call you bitches. Let's back up. The woman was the wealth in the across this planet. The indigenous people on each land of mother, she gave the riches to the woman from a land perspective because she wanted the women to pass down the wealth through the woman's bloodline. That's how it was always done with each indigenous population across the planet. Okay? Then these bitches or Mitches in the current version, male bitches, came and overthrew her for two purposes: to suppress that feminine divine energy and power, and then from a quote, quote, worldly or physical perspective, to take the land. So now you gonna try to throw salt women who held the wealth, call them witches, and accuse them of enacting revenge on your motherfucking stinking ass and wanting the riches. Bitch, they her riches that you took. So you telling on yourself. That's why you wanted to suppress the magic. And that's why the saying, and it's said in different ways across in different indigenous populations, that you can tell the state of a nation based on the position of the woman. They knew this. That's why they had to kill the witches, to suppress that magic, to take the wealth and control the wealth. So, very good point. Very good point.
It's good.
Uh-huh.
Isn't it ironic that in a book where they're using the etymology of words to explain, they would use the etymology of the word witch, which is wise woman?
Yes.
In other words, the fact of them not using the etymology of the word witch and demonizing the word witch, what they're really attacking is the matriarchal system.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what they're attacking. Absolutely. That's exactly what they're attacking. And I did see in one of the chapters in book 1 where they also talk about the wit, W-I-T, the wit, or the wisdom. And they were linking that word wit, W-I-T, with wisdom. And that wit goes...
It's the root word to witch.
Exactly. And it's interesting because I remember this professor, Caucasian guy, he was discussing the different cultures, and he was talking about the melanated culture. So it was a couple of melanated people sitting in the class, and then all of the rest Caucasian people. So he wrote on the board, Mother Wit. And he said, how many people know what that means? So, of course, all of the melanated people, we rose our hand. So the Caucasian people didn't know what it mean. Nobody raised their hand. So he asked us, one of us, what does it mean? We said it means mother wisdom. Okay, but me not knowing back then what I know now, it goes back to that word witches or wisdom. It's the mother wisdom. Okay, that's what they were suppressing. This is nothing new of the woman's power as far as from a esoteric perspective and the richest perspective. And they knew that, and that's why they went after her. Okay, all right, so the next one. In two parts, their actions may be divided. The actions, now we still on Mother Wit, the witches. In two parts, their actions may be divided, the actions of their own persons and the actions proceeding from them towards any other. And this division, being well understood, will easily resolve you. What is possible to them, though, when he said though, I fell out laughing, because you know that's us. We're going to put dough on the end of something in a motherfucking minute. But anyway, for although all that they confess is no lie upon their part, yet doubtlessly, in my opinion, a part of it is not indeed accordingly as they take it to be. And in this I mean by the actions of their own persons. For as I said before, speaking of magi, that the devil eludes the senses of these scholars of his in many things, so I say, I the like of these witches. And then he goes on, then I pray you first to speak of that part of their own persons, and seeing ye may come next to their actions others. Okay, so for me, he kind of is saying, well, for me, number one, he admitted that the witches are, what they're saying is they're not lying. So I found that very interesting. For although all that they confess is no lie on their part, yet doubtly, in my opinion, okay, then it seems like to me he's still conflicted on how to explain the part of them doing it of their own persons. So that's what I got out of it. I'm not sure, Brother Sean, what you got out of it.
To me, I think he's saying that either they can make things happen for themselves or they can do things to somebody else.
Okay, that makes sense.
He don't care if they manifest the stuff for themselves. Just don't do nothing to me. If you can make you some more shit, go ahead and make you some more shit, but let me keep what I got. Just don't fuck with me.
Got you. That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, but the part that tripped me out, that he admitted that they ain't lying.
Remember earlier in chapter 1, he said that it's called science. He knew full well what's going on. And he said it's been going on for a long time before they got there.
Yes, he did say that. So that's why I found this book so fascinating, because, you know, the argument is all of this witchcraft, sorcery and stuff, and necromancy, all of it is bad. But they not lying about it now. They not lying about what they do. And yeah, they do have the power to do it, bad and unlawful. No, just, you know, we could have just ended this motherfucking argument real early, blood. Just admit that you scared of this shit, okay? Go on and admit that you scared of these mother wits, these witches, these bitches, and the priest. Okay, so the priests are the sorcerers, the men side of the house. Just go on and admit that you're scared of all of that. Because you know that you fucking with folks, taking their stuff, but you don't want it, the consequences that come with that. You don't want them putting their magic or their power on you. Okay, so you're going to use them scriptures as a way to try to change the consciousness or the psyche of folks to stay away from that. Okay.
I think they may have looked at the witches as being strictly women and the men being the necromancers. Because
okay, so the women are still a sorcery, the sorcerers rather.
As far as for communing with the dead, they were probably looking at the things that the shamans were doing, communicating with the spirit world, and then seeing the oracles or the quote-unquote witches doing practical first-hand shit that you could see and feel instantly.
Gotcha. That makes a lot more sense.
The shamans going to talk to get information, to get guidance. But when it came down to the sisters, it worked. It was putting a hurting on that ass instantly.
And now that makes sense. I thank you for breaking that down, because the shamans are going in the spiritual realms, using the medicinal plants, okay, making up and that's what you call root work. Know y'all know what the hell you done heard grandma and them talking about that root work. Okay, so that's the shamans using that root work to tap into the spiritual realms to get messages. But the sisters put the shit in action. Oh, nigga, you gonna say thus and such? Okay, I got something for your monkey ass. We still know that today in our community. We still know that today in our community that the sisters, you have sisters that's in tune, they cannot be fucked with. Matter of fact, I advise you not to fuck with them, because that's going to be your ass, because they can create it and bring it forth in the physical realm. And that's why those Mitches were afraid of the witches, because they're the ones that could take them down. So, again, that is why we state that the indigenous people across the planet got taken over when they knocked the woman off of her rightful place, because she can dodge any motherfucking bullet that they can try to enact, because she's about that light. She can make it happen in the physical world. So, very, very good point, Brother Sean. Thank you for that. All right. So, to the effect that they may perform such services of their false master as he employs them and the devil as gods, appy or ape, counterfeits and ape, okay,
ape.
As God's ape.
As in gorilla.
Because I looked that up. I'm like, is it really? I went to the etymology dictionary, Brother Sean, just to make sure I was seeing it right. But yeah. I was like, wait, is this? I just got to make sure. So let me reread that. To the effect that they may perform such services of their false master as he employs them, and the devil as God's ape, so that's G-O-D, capital G, small O-D-S, ape, A-P-E, counterfeits in his servants this service and form of adoration, that God prescribed and made his servants to practice. For as the servants of God, G-O-D. Now, am I making this up, Brother Sean? Aren't they not distinguishing up in this motherfucking text?
Indeed.
The difference between capital G, small o, D-S, and for as the servants of capital G-O-D. So that's telling you two different things. Okay, so for as the servants of God, publicly, lost my damn track, y'all. Wait a second. He publicly uses to convene for serving of him, so makes he them in great numbers to convene, though publicly they dare not for his services. Okay, so I must just stop right there. And before I break down the rest, because I don't want us to brush over that motherfucking part. So he starts out his little response saying that the witches, the mother wits, are performing services for their false master. And so, Brother Sean, what's your take on the devil as God's ape? What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, we could talk about the rhesus monkey and the whole RH thing and who's actually looked upon as the devil, and the fact that we're talking about melanated people that are having this discussion,
this argument, yes.
Then next thing you know, I mean, you got all these little pale things just running around wreaking havoc.
Right, and I thought that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
People keep saying it's not about quote unquote color, but how do you ignore that fact?
I was really surprised to see this up in here. I mean, like I said, I was so blown away again. I went to Google, and I know what the typical definition is. Then I went to the etymology of the word, and let me see what it brings back, just to let y'all know. Hold on a second. I thought I had put the definition of the etymology dictionary. So it does have two meanings. The noun means an ape, a monkey, from Proto-Germanic. Source also Old Saxon, okay, Dutch, German, probably a borrowed word, probably Celtic. Now, when we get into the series of the 13 colonies, it's going to blow your wig back when we talk about the origins of how the German come into play and the Saxons. Okay, so now that's in the etymology dictionary, the noun of ape. The verb of ape is to imitate, 1630s, but the notion is implied earlier, as in the phrase play the ape, 1570, and mid-English ape-like behavior simulation, mid-15th century, and the noun of one who mimics. Okay, so either way, it blew me away for them to have that in there. And the reason that they have that in there is to distinguish between sets of people. Okay, so now according to this person's argument, they're saying that the witches are using God's apes, counterfeits in his services, in his servants, this service and form of adoration that God prescribed and made his servants to practice. Okay? So they're describing some set of people, either a different set of people or a people that imitates things and counterfeits things. And then they go into, for as the servants of God, the capital G-O-D, publicly uses to convene for servicing of him. So make he them in great numbers to convene, publicly they dare not for his service. Okay, so yeah, I thought that was really, really interesting how they, with the words, but just by reading them, you can see on the paper how they're making a distinction between the differences in the gods and the differences in the ape and the witches. Okay.
You know,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
Mutra.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he said, I guess he said it, that they were there on this planet before the Anunnaki came. And then the Anunnaki was making all these experiments.
Yep.
And making people from apes. And they considered, and then the Zachariah Sitchin considered the Anunnaki, they set
their
themselves
gods. Yep.
So the
you hit
gods,
it on the nail, sis.
When you start talking about God's apes, you know, it just flashed back to me. That's what they were talking about.
Exactly. So that even puts it at a deeper meaning. You're absolutely right, because I was looking at them describing that they're using a set of people for the fuckery. In other words, they're using a set of people to counterfeit God's magic. Okay. But it's one and the same. But you're absolutely right. The other description is them telling you that a set of beings who has a different genetic makeup or a different bloodline, okay, that was the creation of the Anunnaki, who they recognize as their God, is in play. So yeah, that was deep for me for them to put that in here. Totally. Okay, so where the hell did I leave off? Damn it.
Verify that story.
They pretty much do.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty much do. Because again, y'all, I was blown the fuck back to see ape up in there. I literally had to go check the definition, and I'm glad I went to etymology, because it does talk about one who counterfeits, one who imitates, as well. And I'm like, damn, they put a lot in this book. So, okay, so as none convene to the adoration and worshiping of God, except they be marked with his seal, the sacrament of baptism. Ding, 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 ding. There, you said that, sis. So none serve Satan and convenes to the adoring of him. They are not marked with that mark whereof I already spake. As the ministers sent by God teaches plainly at the time of their public conventions how to serve him in the spirit and truth, so that unclean spirit in his own person teaches his disciples at the time of their convening how to work all kind of mischief. Okay, and so remember, Brother Andrew broke down the convening. That's also can be translated into getting together, doing rituals too. Okay, and craves comp of their horrible and detestable proceedings passed for advancement of his service. Ye, that he made the more, what's that, Sean? Verily counterfeit and scorn God. He oft times make, I'm sorry, sis, what you say?
Verily means truly, right? Truth.
Okay, yeah, verily. And see, the way it is spelled in here, it's not spelled like our typical English, so sometimes it throws me off. Okay, ye that he may have more verily counterfeit and scorn God, he oftentimes make his slaves to convene in these verily places which are definite and ordained for the convening of the serving of God, I mean by churches. But the fair which I have yet said, I not only take it to be true in their opinions, but even so to be indeed. For the form that he used in counterfeiting God amongst the Gentiles makes me so to think. As God spake by his oracles, spake he not so by his, except I'm going to reread that. Because that's deep, yeah. I know, Brother John. You know where I'm going with that. Why sister had to take a little swig off the water. As God spake by his oracles, spake he not so by his. Oh, so you admitting that there's oracles on both sides then, blood. As God has as well blood sacrifices as others, bloody, my bad, yep, as God has as well bloody sacrifices. Yep, all caps, as all cap God had as well bloody sacrifices as others without blood, had not he the like. God, lowercase God, had churches sanctified to his service with altars, come on now, priests, come on now, sacrifices, come on now, ceremonies and prayers, had he not like polluted to his services, his service? As God responds by, what do you think that is, Verum and Thurman, gave he not his responses by the entrails of beasts, by the singing of fowls, and by their actions in the air? As God, I'm still on the lowercase God, y'all, so my bad. As the lowercase God by visions, dreams, and I don't know what's that, revealed ecstasies. Okay, ecstasies. Yep, that makes sense. It's just how it's written, how it's spelled. Okay, ecstasy revealed what was to come and what was his will unto his servants. Use he not the like means to forewarn his slaves of things to come?
Ecstasy.
Yea.
The etymology of ecstasies is out-of-body experience.
Right. Now, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yea, even as God, I'm still on the lowercase God, y'all, loved cleanliness, I guess they're saying, hated vice and impurities, and appointed punishments therefore, use he not the like, though falsely I grant, but in eschewing the less inconvenient to draw them upon a greater. Yet, is that dissimilated or dismissaled? Yeah, okay, dissimilated. Yet dissimilated he not, I say, so far as to appoint his priests to keep their bodies clean and undefiled before their asking responsibilities of him. And fiend he not God, still on lowercase God, y'all, to be protectors of every virtue and a just revenge of the contrary. This reason then moves me that as he is that same devil and as crafty now as he was then, so will he not spare as partly in these actions that I have spoken of concerning the witches' persons. But further, witches oft times confess not only his convenience in the church with them. Now I'm finna reread that again. Bruh went off. Bruh went in on this now. But further, witches oftentimes confess not only his convenience in the church with them, but his occupying of the pulpit. Ye the form of adoration to be the kissing of the hinder parts, which thou it seems ridiculous, yet may it likewise be true. Seeing we read that in Calicut he appearing in form of a goat buck, hath publicly thou unhonest homage done unto him. But every one of the people, so ambitious is he and greedy of honor, which procured his fall, that he will even imitate God in that part where it is said that Moses could see but the hinder parts of God for the brightness of his glory, Exodus 33. And yet the speech is spoken, but, okay, and I don't know why they got Greek characters here, so it must have been some Greek character. Okay, so I'm going to pause, Brother Sean. I'm going to let you put something on there, because, baby, he brought it on that.
Already then. Kissing of the hind parts. They kissing ass.
Exactly.
And it say Moses could see but the hinder parts of God for the brightness of his glory. So I guess they saying that God's ass is the sunshine. I mean, it's so bright you can't even look at that nigga ass.
Ooh, so just in case I get cut off, Brother Sean, because I'm getting on the 3-minute mark, I might need you to call me back in, but go ahead. Okay. 3-hour mark, I was going to say. Go ahead.
This reason then moves me that as he is the same devil.
Yep.
Now, who exactly is the same devil? Is it the lowercase God or the all caps God who got the bloody sacrifices jumping off? Then you got the lowercase God, the capital G, lowercase O, G. Got his sacrifices and,
right.
Got visions and dreams and ecstasy jumping off.
Right.
Basically utilizing everything that they said was innocent. Got the slaves tapping into things to come because they were the oracles.
Yep.
Pleased to keep their bodies clean and undefiled before asking any favors, because I guess if you've asked us some favors in sin, that's your soul. That's your ass. So you got to be pure in order to ask for something.
And then I thought, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And I was going to say, too, I also thought that when he was talking about that basically they needed to have their bodies clean, it was like a ritual that, because think about it, in the Bible when they talk about, exactly, and about like how Jesus had to wash up a certain way, it was a ritual. So in other words, these are instructions that are given that they have to do to be clean from a physical perspective as well before they perform rituals or as they're being initiated in an order. And yes, to answer your question, we talking about the lowercase God, the G, capital G-O-D. That's who we own. All this stuff we mentioning, we own that God.
Okay, 2 more points. But further, witches oft times confess not only his convening in the church with them, but his occupying of the pulpit. Now, they making these sisters go to church, trying to make them confess the evil. Then no, it ain't me, it's the people in the church and that nigga in the pulpit.
Yep.
Like that's where all your devil shit is coming from.
Yep.
And then this part. Which though it seemed ridiculous, yet may it likewise be true. Being that we read in the old Calcutta, he appearing in the form of a goat buck. Baphomet.
Exactly. And remember when I said earlier that they, in Illinois, they got in the Capitol that Baphomet sign. So hopefully, family, you starting to see the connection. Okay, so he pretty much telling them, while you sitting up here talking shit, blood, about the witches and them using their capital G-O-D, y'all turning around doing the same thing with your capital G, small o, small d. You doing the same thing. You even using the motherfucking symbols and all. So what is you talking about, blood? Sorry, go ahead, sis.
Okay, my thing is, I'm listening to it, but I'm looking at what they did in the Old Testament, and the Old Testament is sacrifice, and the entails is the inside of the animal. The goat, the Baphomets that they use now as a copy of what Moses and those guys did back in the sacrifices, is they use the Baphomet as their symbol of their wickedness, where the Baphomet or the sacrificial goat was used with Moses to cast the sins of the people away, where they substituted Jesus or Christ as in the church now, and he's in the church, and the people are worshiping him, and that is the lowercase g. So they got rid of the sacrifices because they said the sacrifices were not good. And that's what I'm hearing out of what he's saying, that the sacrifices is, they put it on one man's shoulder in the Bible, in King James's version, for the cleansing. Whereas the people, the witches, and Moses, they cast the Urim and the Purim, which is was on the breastplate of the priest or the shamans or whatever they wanted to call them, to get the answers to what's going on. But they got rid of all of that. So they put it in the church, and you go up there and kiss the preacher's hand and raise him up, instead of doing it the way of the G.O.
You said it was done back in the day.
Right. So they got rid of that. They got rid of the sacrifices. They got rid of the Baphomet. They got everything, and they changed it. It's like duplicity. They changed it. They gave it to one man to do
That's a very good point.
To worship. That's what I was hearing as he was saying that. I said, because the Baphomet now represents evil. But it was a symbol of the goat.
There you go.
Who carried away the sins of the people into the wilderness.
Very good, sis. Very good. And just
Yeah,
sorry,
the
go ahead, Brother
Baphomet.
Sean.
The Baphomet represents duality. I mean,
Yes, because that's what I was going to say. Yes.
People's perspective that made it represent evil, because
Right,
there
exactly.
really is no good and evil.
Yeah.
Right. It is using now remember when we talked about science, when we first started this off last week, and we talked about science and metaphysics, and we talked about numbers, and we talked about symbols. And even I forget who brings up in the argument when they talked about how the witches use symbols, okay? That was one of the symbols, okay? Because remember when I talked about in rituals, that Baphomet symbol is used whether or not you're going to, quote, quote, use the energy badly or use the energy goodly.
Right.
Okay, so that Baphomet symbol family we talking about are the inverted triangles that look like the Star of David. Okay, so he just basically busting them out. You're absolutely right, sis, that, okay, so you talking all this BS, but the preachers are pretty much doing what the witches were doing. And I could be reading more into this than possible, that they were convening behind the scenes with the witches.
Exactly. I mean, because if you think about the services that a priest is supposed to perform, he's supposed to be the mediator for you and God.
Capital G, little o, little d. Yes.
Right. So he's interpreting to you what God, the King, wants you to do.
Right.
Telling you what's lawful and unlawful.
Right.
You know,
they also tricked you into confessing your sins. And that's why God knows all, because you tell his boys and they tell him.
Right. You done told all your MF and business. Right. Go ahead on, sis.
Well, you know, they also, you know, people, the preachers in the church always pretended like they were on the right side of energy. And so there was a lot of people who had gifts of prophecies and divinations and all kinds of stuff. And when they went to the church, they kind of like showed their gifts, and that was wrong. And they ended up killing those people because they witch hunted them and said they were witches. That's how it happened in Salem back in that day when he was talking. Because those people came in there with the gifts of prophecy, the gifts of discernment, of healing, of ministry, and the preacher was supposed to be their advocate, but they turned out to be their hunters.
Yep.
So that's what I'm listening to.
Indeed. Very, very good. Okay, so we're going to do Chapter 4, and the argument is, what are the ways possible whereby the witches may transport themselves to places far distant? You know, I was like, oh, it's on and popping. And what are impossible and mere illusions of Satan and the reasons thereof? Okay, so the Philomaths. But what way say they or think ye it's possible that they can come to these unlawful conventions? Okay, the counter. There is the thing which I esteem their senses to be deluded in, and though they lie not in confessing of it, because they think it to be true, yet not to be so in substance or effect. For they said that by diverse means they may convene either to the adoration of their master or to the putting in practice any service of his committed to their charge. One way is natural, which is natural writing, going, or saying, at what hour, sailing, at what hour their master comes and advertises them. And this way may be easily believed. Another way is somewhat more strange, and yet it is possible to be true, which is being carried by, now this is the part that just blew my wig back now. Now this is going to be deep. All right, so the other way yet is possible to be true, which is being carried by the force of the spirit, which is their conductor, either above the earth or above the sea swiftly to the place where they are to meet, which I am persuaded to be likewise possible in respect that as Habakkuk was carried by the angel, Habakkuk, okay, I knew you would know this, was carried by the angel in that form to the den where Daniel lied. Apocryphy of Baal and the dragon. So I think the devil will be ready to imitate God as well in that as in other things, which is much more possible to him to do. Being a spirit, then to a mighty wind, being but a natural meteor poured from one place to another, a solidly body, as in commonly and daily seen in practice. But in this violent form they cannot be carried but a short bounds, agreeing with the space that they may retain their breath. For if it were longer, their breath could not remain unextinguished, their body being carried in such a violent and forcible manner as the example. If one falls off a small height, his life is but in peril according to the hard or soft lightning. But if one fall from a high and stay rot, his breath will be forcefully banished from the body before he can win to the earth, as it oft seen by experience. And in this transporting, they say themselves that they are invisible to any other, except among themselves, which may also be possible in my opinion. For if the devil may form what kind of impressions he pleases in the air, as I have said before, speaking of magic, why may he not far easily thicken and obscure so the air that is next about them for contracting it straight together, that they beams of any other man's eye cannot pierce through the same to see them. So in other words, why can't you see them? But the third way of their coming to their convention is that wherein I think them deluded, for some of them saith that being transformed in the likeness of the little beast or fowl, they will come and pierce through whatsoever house or church, through all ordinary passage be closed, by whatsoever open the air may enter in it. And some saith that their body lying still as in an ecstasy, their spirits will be ravished out of their bodies and carried to such places. And for verifying thereof will give evident tokes, as well by witness that have seen their body lying senseless in the meantime, as by naming persons with whom they met and giving tokens, I don't know, what's that, quite purpose was among them, whom otherwise they could not have known. For this former journeying they affirm to use most when they are transported from one country to another. Whew, okay, I'm going to pause, Brother Sean, let you put something on it. Damn, but that was deep. But go on, Brother Sean.
Yeah, Sound like they talking about astral travel.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
And he said he believes it to be true.
And elevating.
Yep.
Levitating over there.
Because it's been proven to him. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to determine where he lies with this. I mean, one minute he's talking with such conviction.
Yes.
But you sitting up having all these types of conversations with people. He's actually learning it.
Yep.
While putting it down. But
yep.
Also using it. I mean, to sit up and talk about, okay, to lose their breath could not remain unextinguished. Their body being carried in such a violent and forceful manner.
Yep.
No. I don't ever remember any of it being forcible or losing my breath.
But you know what, though, Brother Sean? Damn, I know we only got a couple minutes.
Okay, like what they call the witch entering your body, where you're laying there paralyzed, can't move, you can see and hear. But there is a jolt when your spirit enters back into your body.
Exactly. So I knew you knew what he was talking about. So what they're describing is, and before I do this, Brother Sean and Sis Sandra, do we want to continue next week?
Yeah.
With this? Okay, yeah, because I'm enjoying it, but I didn't want to push it on y'all and y'all like I'm done. But I'm cool.
We got one more book.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to carry it through. So I just want to make sure. Okay, so what blood is describing, family? Blood. What he's describing is when he is first learning how to astro travel.
Right.
Am I right or am I wrong, Brother Sean? When you are first consciously aware of yourself astro traveling, it's going to motherfucking feel like you can't breathe or somebody sitting on your chest because you have not mastered that craft of astral traveling as you're conscious. Okay? So that's what the whole jolting of the body means. Meaning your astral body, your Merkaba, leaving the physical body. That's the jerk. Okay? And that's you being able to look back and see your body laying there. Some people call it an out-of-body experience. So that's what he's describing to you. So he's up in the air because he didn't probably motherfucking experienced it before, because I'm with Brother Sean. He gave helly details. On astral travel, but he was new to it. So he didn't understand of what the jerking feeling felt like, what the pressure felt like on your body, and what the jolt of your body felt like when you're returning or when you're leaving, because they're new to astral travel. You have that panicky feeling when you leave in your body, when you're first astral traveling, when you're first consciously aware of it. So that's why he's conflicted, because he's had this experience. He don't want to come out and say he had it, but he didn't quite know how to put it all together. So meaning, was that a demon jumping out my body? And you can go and do YouTube searches on people experiencing astral traveling, and they'll talk about feeling like somebody is sitting on their chest, or you'll see pictures of someone laying in a bed and a demon is sitting on their chest. That's explaining astral travel. So, no, we're going to run out of time. That is a perfect place to pick up on what Blood's response is going to be on that. So, since you have any last word for the family, go ahead.
That says he knows it exists.
Yeah, but he's confused about it. That's like people first coming out of the church and into spirituality. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, I've experienced that, but that can't be what it is. It's still got to be something to do with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Brother Sean, you have any last words for the family?
Yeah. Freedom means no paper.
Yes.
I mean, if you're for mother, then why do you want to keep doing things that come from your brothers or sisters?
Yes.
Trees, your brothers or sisters.
Yes, they are.
Everybody's still caught up in this paperwork. Mama didn't make paperwork with us.
Nope.
We exist at certain frequencies, and so does names, nationalities, and all that stuff that everybody fight over.
Right.
But all that exists at lower frequencies.
Right. Right. Brother Sean. Thanks, Brother Sean. And they exist in an old paradigm or an old age, the Pisces age that we have left. So we're going to pick back up next week, family. I do want to thank you all for hanging in there, for your support. Thank you, Brother Sean. Thank you, Sis Sandra. I love you very much. Thank Sis Lioness. Love you very much. Thank you, Brother 832. Love you very much as well. So we're going to pick back up next